Through the prayers of Holy Fathers, for Jesus Christ, for God have mercy on us and save us. Amen. Good evening to those new here. My name is Father Joseph Swaden. I've worked in Orthodox apologetics since 1998. I'm the founder of NFTU, Orthodox and Ecumenical News, since 2004. We've been in the apologetic space on Facebook since 2016 and on YouTube since 2018. And if you appreciate what we do here, please like and subscribe. Today we do our live Q&A session where you can get your questions answered live as well as member-requested video reviews. So let's get started. And as always, if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. I'll be taking super chats from the YouTube chat, and if you want your question or comment without super chatting, I'll try to answer it, but you might miss it if I don't put it up. So let's get started. Well, we've already got a video review in queue because we're going to take care of that. So let's get through some of our early hellos and greetings. And well, this is a bold start. Are you in communion with the GOC? And if no, why? Yes, we are in communion with the GOC, but you're going to have to be more specific when you say GOC. Orthodox Traditionalist Publications gives a salute. Ryan Maya says, I am having a problem with my priest. He's been ignoring me when I talk to him. Have any thoughts? No, I don't. I'm not getting in the middle of stuff with your priest. I have no idea who you are or who it is. Now, if you're going to accuse me of it being me, please let me know. If I'm sorry if I've forgotten to talk to you, but I don't recognize your name. Salva says, good evening, everyone. Blessings, Father. May God bless you. The Father, and the Holy Spirit. I forgot this. I had this stream on and the waiting music spooked me. Yeah, sorry about it. I started using that, I think, with the Orthodox Ethos review, of which there will be a condensed version, which was supposed to be on this channel, but I ended up putting it on NFTU. But if you are at NFTU 2, but if you have been following NFTU 2 over the past week, you'll see it. Taylor Harden says, hello, Father bless, God bless you. Sunrise, Father bless, God bless you. Father, your mic sounds really bad. Okay. Let me see what I can do here. Okay. Let's try this. How's that? Tell me if that's better. Salva says the audio's messed up. Tom says, I guess that's blessed. I think you might have the wrong microphone selected. That would be a shocker. Give me a moment, though. It's not impossible. Let me check. Okay, so let's see here. All right, I've changed what I think is the microphone. Atomic Lead says, bless Father. God bless you in the name of the Father, Son, and the Holy Spirit. Good evening to you and all. Great. It's great to have you all here with us. Audio's fixed. So, okay, somehow it switched over to the other mic. I'm not sure why. Father Antonio says, good evening. Good evening. And again, this is our live Q&A. This is our live Q&A chat we do every Sunday. So if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. Let's see here. And so let's see what we got here. Okay, Atomically says, yep. Okay, with hands. Father Boniface, Benedicite, you're sounding better. Thank you. Thank you. I guess it was really bad. I had no idea that the audio would switch off into the webcam's audio, which is absolute garbage. Let's take a look and see here. So I think let's get ready to get started. This has come up a few times. A couple of people have recommended this video, so we are going to review it. And let me just see if I can get to that. One moment. All right, the video is called Stop it now. Okay. And the video is called The Problem with Online Orthodoxies, Polarization. Let me see. It's Living Orthodox with Father Mikhail. We've touched upon his stream every so often. He's a World Orthodox priest. He's in Rokor MP, a relatively new convert priest. Yeah. Oh, okay. Sunrise says, "Oh man, I watched a bit of this." Well, we're gonna watch it all. It's not a long video. I'm gonna put it at 1.5, and we're gonna dissect it because the thumbnail the thumbnail got people because it's got like it says like online Orthodoxy, the divorce, and it's got a picture of Father Peter Heers, of I forget the name of that priest, Father Mikhail, Father Liftbro, Father Josiah Trenum. So it's got everyone. So it's gonna be interesting to say the least. So let's get started with that, and then we'll see. We'll take it apart as we need. I just realized I never shared it. I'm so sorry, everyone. We'll start over. I started watching it myself. No problem. God bless you. God bless everyone who's late here. He does like. Let me see here. So before we get to that, I'm seeing here comments indicating. Let's see. Father Mikhail told one of our dearest brothers he thinks St. Philaret would accept the MP Union. I really doubt that. Orthodox Traditionalist Publications does rename Living Modernism. Sunrise says he calls true Orthodox Protestants in the comments. Oh boy. Father Presbyterian Maria, may God bless you in the name of the Father, and the Holy Spirit. Okay. Okay. Let us watch this, and it's kind of sounding a little train wrecky already, but I'm definitely want to see the comments. But all right, let's start over because for those who missed it, I was listening and just staring like an idiot. So.
Hello, everyone, and God bless. This is Father Michael with another episode of Living Orthodox, and today I'm putting out this short reflection. I'm not going to do really any fancy editing with it. It's just going to be very basic because I feel that this is a really important topic to discuss, especially with Lent coming up, and that is the hyper extreme polarization that we see in the online sphere. And I feel that a lot of the time it's easy to kind of get swept up into an almost partisan style approach to the church, to Orthodoxy. And a lot of the time we see converts coming in who are disheartened, who are disenfranchised with the society, with the world we're living in. And it's understandable why. I mean, I've certainly been in that boat as well. And of course, there are things that are very concerning that we deal with on a day-to-day basis. The problem isn't so much this being a motivator for us looking for the truth, looking for the church. The problem is that this oftentimes becomes the whole framework from within which everyone starts to try to work in. We see extreme examples on the left where people will say that the church you're in doesn't matter, that theology is irrelevant, that the fathers got things wrong in various councils. We'll see nonsense like this where you'll get these Orthodox people who claim to be hopeful universalist. You really can't be. Universalism is contrary to the gospel, and it ultimately, of course, is an insult to the incarnation of Christ and to the crucifixion. But then you also get people on the extreme right end of things who, the moment a priest says, look, it's okay for you to go and attend your Catholic grandma's funeral, just don't receive communion, don't receive a blessing from a priest, or it's okay for you to, you're living at home with your mom and she's Catholic and you're Orthodox. It's okay for you to go and attend a service. Just don't pray anything other than the Our Father, for example, because it's a universal prayer. And don't accept a blessing and don't take communion. And in all reality, that's perfectly fine. And I will be doing another video talking about how there are some things I got wrong at the start of my channel, including the lack of nuance that I gave in my video on not praying with the heterodox. And I think that needs to be fleshed.
Okay, so I'm a little confused. From what I understand, what he's saying here is that I guess he's backing off from much more, I guess more logically orthodox positions. I mean, I'm not going to argue the funeral thing. You can stand in the back of the funeral, fine, whatever. I think when you're living with your mom and you're trying to become Orthodox, you probably shouldn't be going to Roman Catholic masses at all, and certainly not praying the Our Father in community with them. That's condemned. Let's look here. Denise, I didn't even watch the whole thing. Tried twice, read the comments. And of course, he was mostly highly praised. Death compromised. My spinal fluid is tingling. Beautifully and Sunrise, beautifully embracing the charity and nuance. I can't believe he used the word nuance. Like, does everyone just morph into Michael Lofton eventually? Let me see. That's compromise. That's what brought me here. Father Michael, we possess the relics of the saints, thus we're the true Orthodox. Well, you keep on thinking that, buddy. Let's continue.
Out because there has been, for one, I've realized that I didn't present it well. And there has been people who have used this to polarize things further in the church. And it's not healthy. It completely divides the body of Christ. People come online searching for Orthodox content a lot of the time because they're looking for answers. They are discouraged. They're disenfranchised. They're dissatisfied with maybe what they're coming from in terms of their Christian faith, or if they're not Christians, perhaps they are looking for reasons to become Christian. Maybe they're looking for the church that Christ established. Wow, that was me years ago. The problem is that a lot of the time when they come online, the first thing they see is various people saying different things, criticizing each other within the Orthodox Church, driving that point of division that is often weaponized against us. And they see in the comments people criticizing priests or attacking various priests, or saying that this person is not doing this well enough, or where's that guy's beard? Where's that guy's ponytail? Why is he wearing a collar? Why isn't he wearing a riasa? Why is he wearing that style cassock, not this style cassock?
Most of the stuff is kind of foolish and cosmetic he's talking about, except for the beard. The beards actually do have a canonical backing. I notice he doesn't have one anymore, really. He used to, but it's kind of gone. Let me see here. Blackworth Acolyte points out he was friends with Subdeacon, I believe. They actually did host a couple of shows together, if I remember. I guess seeing Subdeacon go old calendarists has forced many to moderate their position and their rhetoric, perhaps. Presbyterian Medea says, Lord of Mercy. Tikon F says, a positive side of this mess is that he has the Romanov Royal Martyrs on the book on the shelf. So does Patrick Kirill. Orthodox Traditionalist Publications, FPH just loved one of his father team members openly contradicting his position. I know he loves that. Been there, done that. Black Ortho, he's living in a paid priesthood now, so when they say jump, he asks how high. Sunrise, remember the demon story where they said don't criticize beardless priests in the EPLL? Yeah, it's getting ridiculous. Sunrise sounds just like this. Memento Mori suspects perhaps he's getting censured to be more charitable. Again, this just a note, this is a live Q&A channel, so if you want to jump on the stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link at the top of the chat. And if you'd like your comment on the screen, don't forget to super chat or use one of the options available for donating. So let's continue on.
Why does the Greek priest have a collar? Why is there a Western Rite priest? You get all this.
He just threw in a Western Rite priest okay.
All of a sudden, the image of Catholicity, of the Orthodox faith being one church, is completely destroyed for these people. And we're the ones who are supposed to be witnessing to them. There are people who say, well, I follow Father Peter Heers in Orthodox ethos, or I follow Father Michael Belika in Living Orthodox, or I follow Father Moses McPherson, I follow Father Josiah Trenum, and the list goes on and on and on and on. The problem is that this is contrary to what even St. Paul says in his letters, where he was telling people to stop fighting over who baptized them, who they were brought in under, who brought them into the church. It's one church. We're supposed to be baptized into Christ. You're not baptized by, Father Michael. You're not baptized by Father John, Father Paul, Father whoever. You are baptized into Christ. The priest performs the service. He performs the ritual. Christ is the one who has baptized you. You are being joined to him. He's the one doing the work. right? We're there to be the instrument that he uses to accomplish this, because God involves his creation in his life, but it is not that we are the ones specifically doing it. And there are things we get wrong. We priests are, surprise, surprise, human. We're not perfect. We still go to confession. We have spiritual fathers ourselves. We need guidance. We need accountability. We have bishops.
I don't know if it's just me, but he sounds pretty exasperated right now. But yeah, we know priests aren't perfect. We know priests have to go to confession. I'm not exactly. I mean, like, maybe he needs a vacation. I don't know.
It's extremely discouraging for people when they look in and they see people, attacking Father Peter and saying, well, where's your bishop? Who's your bishop? It's a complex situation. Before you criticize, maybe go look into it. It's unfortunate. As a priest right now who doesn't have a parish, it really sucks to not be able to serve frequently. It's probably even harder not having a parish and a bishop.
Well, I assume he's talking about Father Peter here. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, he's still celebrating at St. Anthony's, celebrating. He's not far from there, so it's not like they've banished Father Peter here to, like, the Alaskan tundra or something like that. I mean, he's still just right there in the on the property of the New Calendarist, monastery. So this is kind of silly. It's like the picture of poor suffering Father Peter here just doesn't make any sense to me. It's kind of ridiculous, actually. Let me see here. All right, so let's see what we got here in the comments. Okay. You guys are the sharks, LOL. Well, I don't consider myself a shark per se. Maybe they do, but who? He said his little baby pulled half his beard off. Okay, well, I don't know how much of that beard was real, but Sonora says, ouch. Saba says the cowboy hat in the background reminds me of the picture of the Antiochian priest who dressed as a cowboy for liturgy, the one that was formerly on Patrick Barnes' website. The cowboy hat in the background reminded me of something else. Guy wears hats a lot, but anyway, sharks. What do you mean exactly, Lamont? Ceremony. Does shark taste good? Shark does taste good, actually. It's there's some meaty cuts of the shark, Sunrise. Sava says it's all right. It's a very inhumane trade on shark meat, though, so I don't recommend it. It's not worth it for the price either. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I guess I don't know the trade on shark meat. I don't know how they even catch them, etc. So I see. Memento Mori says, I had shark ceviche as a child once. It wasn't memorable, but I've heard they're full of parasites. The reason ceviche and a lot of American sushi is available is because the U.S. Department of Agriculture has rules into freezing the fish, which kills off the parasites. So it can be like, I think they're frozen at, like, if you're frozen at like 120 degrees for more than 2 days, it's considered, safe. LOL, skipping food comments. I've seen people compare Father Peter Hears to Saint Nectarios. Okay, that's so wrong and so unfair to Saint Nectarios. Jason Allen says, hello, Father Jay. Good to hear from you and glad I can make your stream. Welcome. Presbyterian Maria says, if shark is prepared properly, it's very good. Yes, it is. Zalota says, your blessings, Father Joseph, in the name of the Father, and the Holy Spirit. Amen. Shark boost from him. All right. JS, I don't know who that is. There's another beardless wonder. And let's begin.
As a and then you get these other priests who say are in the Western Rite. Oh, well, their beards are too short, or why are they wearing that style cassock or collar? I've got bad news for you. Our color that we used for the cassocks was actually largely because when Turkish occupation was a thing in the East, we weren't allowed to wear anything other than black. And of course, we found a way to turn it into a good image for the church to symbolize our repentance, our mourning over our sin, our denial of the world. But that it wasn't the thing right away. even with the style of cassocks that are different, you'll see sometimes Russian clergy will criticize another Russian clergy member if he wears a Greek style cassock, or Greeks criticizing one of their men if he wears a Russian style cassock. It's just a cassock. It's just a cassock. It's there to show what we are, what our office is, and ultimately that's to make us available to people who are seeking Christ and who are seeking healing, help, love, guidance, comfort. And the issue that we see online is that there's a lack of that. We have lay people who are claiming to be Orthodox, or catechumens claiming.
I'm going to stop it here. I think the cassock discussion is stupid. I myself wear a Western inner cassock. Nobody has ever stopped me or commented online and said, that's a Roman inner cassock. Like, nobody. I think that's crazy, and I don't believe that's frankly really happening. I think it's more along the lines of the beard, but yeah, if people are getting weird about a cassock, I think it's silly. I just don't see this cassock, I don't know what to call it. Cassock gate. It's just not real. Sunrise says, nah, his daughter ripped his beard out. He normally has one. Did she make it neat on the sides too? Saba says Marble Emperor would eat shark meat. Sunrise says Marble can eat shark and raw milk. Okay, Marble Emperor is clearly the greatest of all warriors, as we know. Romo Gata says his ego is too high for me. Jazz says he looks very sick. Pray for the healing of his soul. I heard from somebody that he was actually trying to lose weight, so this could just be him losing weight. Let's not assume he's diseased physically. Babies do like to tug on beard hair. They do, but yeah, it's it'd be difficult for a child to rip out your beard. Yep, and Vinicius is very legalistic thinking. JS, shark fin bread is tasty. Never eaten this. Memento Mori, what is his point? Getting into the weeds of smaller traditions isn't worth fighting over, but I'm not sure if he's trying to attribute this to anyone critical of actual issues with world orthodoxy. Yeah. Yeah. So give me a second here, because yeah, I agree with this. Hold on. Okay, let me see here. So yeah, I would say that most likely he's presenting minor issues to replace the real issues. Talking about beards and cassocks. Then all of a sudden, like talking about beards and cassocks and Western Rite and the calendar. Like, they're not all the same thing. Somebody says, yeah, I don't think he's sick, just lost a lot of weight. Rick and Keith says, Father, how do I stop my friend from having a rabbi bless his dog? No, there's just got to be a point where I just don't answer a question. Come on. How do I stop my friend, so you're interfering in someone else's life, from having a rabbi, which means this person is either Jewish or Jewish is adjacent, bless a dog? If your friend is trying desperately to have a rabbi bless his dog, I don't think you're in a position to help him. And I don't think it's going to make a difference for the dog anyway, because dogs are Christians. Hold on. Okay. And Sunrise says, why does your friend have a Jewish doctor and have a Jewish vet? He's like, it's another friend. Okay. Memento Mori, is the Jewish doctor thing a trolling meme? I mean, I feel like it, but technically he's not asking about a Jewish doctor. He's asking about a rabbi to bless his dog. Let me see here. Black Ortho Acolyte says, sounds like he's softening the audience up by speaking an obsession over small things to slide in bigger things. Shark fin oil has been recommended for cancer and other physical ailments. Could be wrong though. Haven't seen this. Yeah, that's what I'm suspecting. Okay. Hold on. Okay. All right, so let's get back to this and glean what other wisdom he has to offer.
To be Orthodox, but then criticizing and attacking various priests or each other or slinging mud in apologetics and oftentimes missing the glaring errors in their own
Slinging mud in apologetics?
presentation of the faith. We have rampant hypocrisy that comes with this. It's like, hello, log meets splinter. Remove that log from your eye before you worry about removing the splinter from someone else's. You get these people attacking the Western Rite and saying, oh, they're not even Orthodox. Oh, their liturgy isn't, it's not Orthodox. Well, sorry.
No, their liturgy isn't Orthodox. So I'm curious as to what the sorry is going to be about.
The liturgy is not something that is dogmatized in a formal sense. Okay, it's a tradition that we receive that's been handed down, that's been used by many saints. The liturgy of St. John Chrysostom is extremely awesome. It's beautiful. St. Basil's liturgy, which isn't much.
All right. Give me just a moment, guys. I need a quick pause if I can. Hold on one moment. Okay, I'm back. Apologies. Wow, lots and lots of comments have come in. So let's see here. Okay. Yeah, that's what I'm suspecting. Where can keys Orthodox? Febendazole is great for cancer. Sunrise. Do these Rokoran people who call St. Philip a saint actually agree with anything he said? At this point, I'd have to say no. BOA, wait for it. Baptisms need no correction. John MC, it's a member chat, so it goes live. If you want your comment on the screen, once again, super chats and or become a member. That goes back to the 1970s New Age quacks. Sharks don't get cancer. Maybe so. They probably don't get arthritis or diabetes either. Denise says, sorry. Cleaved Antiquity says, gotta have a rabbi bless that dog that's barking ASAP. Romogata, Sava, do you know a lot about natural medicines? He did. That's what it's barking. Just kidding. Orthodox Traditions publications. The Sunrise, majority of them have never read anything he's written outside the 3 epistles. Cleaved Antiquity says 4 Diet Cokes a day make my back pain go away. Or something, I don't know. Knee hurts, rub mud on it. Okay, I don't know what kind of remedies those are. So sounds about right, OTP. Uh-huh. Denise is responding to Saba. Orthodox Traditionalists, they dismiss him outright. Okay, oh, that's... Uh-huh. All right. I don't know what the mud thing is, but, like, let it go. Took some break to get some raw milk. No, I had to answer something urgent. Back to the review. Nothing special in comments. Nice and Jonathan Britt says nice and flush for the old schizophrenia. Mrs. Silas says Mississippi is a dish called Mississippi mud pie, which is a chocolate pie thing. I have had that. All right, so let's get back to the video.
Much different. Same thing. It's beautiful. But the pre-sanctified liturgy, which is was written by St. Gregory, Pope of Rome, is, by all accounts, something of Western origin. Now, we can argue and say, well, the Western Rite can't be properly reconstructed. And this video is not really about that. But just as a side note, because I've seen the interview with Father John Fenton getting attacked, I've seen at times Father Patrick Cardine getting criticized. You guys need to realize something. You do not have authority as lay people to criticize their ordinations, their blessings from their bishop, because ultimately at this point, you are attacking the church. The church is the one with the authority to mitigate and bless the usage of different rites.
Okay, but the church can't bless everything. Eventually, you start getting into the problem that, maybe you're not the church if you're blessing such heterodox garbage. Have you considered this possibility, Father Michael?
Of different prayers, of services. You're not going to find outside of Russian service books too many things about molebens in Greek service books or elsewhere. Does that mean that now molebens are a bad thing to do? God, no. Like, of course not. Molebens are honoring to God. These are supplicatory prayers for help, for healing.
No one was talking about molebens. No one's ever talking about molebens. They're always talking about the same thing. Francis of Assisi, Fatima, other weird ass, excuse my language, stuff that you hear from people. It's just ridiculous. Like, when you start disassociating, and excuse my language once again, when you start disassociating reality from your own version of, what you want to talk about, it's ridiculous. It's not, we're not talking about molebens. We're not talking about akathis. We're not talking about ancient Western rites. We're talking about Roman Catholic saints. And if you want to kind of disassociate yourself mentally from that reality, that's fine. Papist foreskin wedding rings, according to their saints. I mean, maybe I just wasn't that knowledgeable in Roman Catholicism, but that stuff is kind of gross, if that's real. Yeah, if we can, I screwed up just now. And I will screw up. I have. But one thing I don't want to do is, that's not an excuse for everyone to just jump out and let's start all cursing. I apologize twice. So, let me see here. Yeah. Yeah, he's talking about, he mentioned Father John Cardine. That's a true story. Oh, gross. So gross. Christ is risen. Hello, Father. I have a question. Is Free Serbian Orthodox Church a true Orthodox Church? I feel like I've been asked this question a few times in the past couple of weeks. There are some Free Serbian churches who are associated with the ROCOR under Metropolitan Fungal. Those would theoretically be considered true Orthodox. There are other independent Free Serbian churches affiliated with no one, and they may not be true Orthodox. They may well be just they're a humanist. So let's continue.
Blessing that a priest can perform. We don't see Molebens being used in every jurisdiction, right? We don't see the Panahida service being used in every jurisdiction, which is a prayer service for the dead, for the departed. This is not something that everyone does, and not in the same way. Does that mean that it's a problem? You get people saying, "Whoa, I was baptized in the Serbian Orthodox Church. I need to get a corrective baptism because I was poor." And I might have been one of those people who at one point would have agreed. Now, upon further examination and understanding things, I would say that's completely wrong. Now, should the standard...
Okay, well, yeah, maybe it's completely wrong if someone was poured and without their knowledge, but the standard is still immersion, not pouring. And the point is, the problem is that the Serbian problem of pouring has been around for a good while. Even true Serbian Orthodox have acknowledged it and tried to fix it, in many cases, mostly being successful. But to try to just cover it up and keep allowing it is a mistake. But anyway.
Of baptism be full immersion? Absolutely. Do I think it's a good thing that they don't use full immersion? No, of course not, because I think it should be standardized. I think we should have the same praxis of baptism and acceptance into the church across the board. I think we're too liberal with our application of chrismation. That said, if you're a priest and your bishop tells you, no, you're going to accept this.
Okay. I'm getting this question because, of course, this is my channel. NFTU, is there a Western true Orthodox rite? There's no such thing. True Orthodox isn't a different religion. It's Orthodoxy that isn't heresy. And yes, there are pre-schism Western Orthodox rituals. Is it good to have a statue that is a crucifix on my altar, or is that not allowed? Statues are often considered similar to bas relief, and you will see them everywhere where they have a real corpus on them. So I don't think of a crucifix as a statue. I think of a crucifix as a very unique thing. And is statues for veneration of the saints okay in general? And our answer, my bishop's answer, all our bishops' answer would be no. So, the crucifix, okay, and I wouldn't put it on the altar, but in any case, no. Why do you have an altar? Are you a priest? I mean, I'm trying to understand this. Sava says statues are fine. They're all over in churches in Russia. There's wonder-working statues in Russia that are centuries old. I promise you, Sava, that is probably not what he means. In any case, I just have a very strong feeling about that. NFTU, that part is where he publicly departs from Orthodox ethos and Father Peter hears his teachings. Yeah, I used to be a Roman Catholic and we called it altars. Sorry, look, decorative statues are fine. Get them out of your prayer corner. If you want to put them in the garden, I guess you can. If you want to put them in the yard, if you want to give them to a church, stick with standard iconography. If you want to truly become Orthodox, you have to truly immerse yourself in Orthodoxy and not constantly focus on what you can bring back from Roman Catholicism. There is nothing there. Let me see what I missed. Something about Saint Teresa or Catherine of Siena with something. Struggle Against Ecumenism is a very good book, even if the end is awfully biased. Let's see here. Wonder-working statues in Russia. Sounding like the dog in the background. Sounds like the dog in the background didn't want the blessing from a Jewish rabbi. I assume you may be talking about my dog, unless he has another dog in the video. My dog just doesn't like to shut up, and she's on the second floor. Thank you, Father. Regarding St. Gregory the Great, is he heretical? What's your opinion on him, Father? No, he's not heretical. Like, I feel like there's a tie-in to this, like maybe to your love of statues, and you think that he said something that he probably didn't, but those things have nothing to do with each other. Badger Snake says, interesting. Once again, anyone can call in. It is the live Q&A show. Just click the link at the top of the chat if you want to have your questions answered. If you have some comments, you want to make an argument, that's fine. But let's continue with the video.
Person by chrismation. Well, guess what? The authority was given to the apostles. The bishops are their successors. It is from him that you even got the grace of priesthood. It is through the bishop's hands that the Holy Spirit came upon you and gave you this grace. It is the church that has the authority to bind and loose. And if the church says, look, this person is baptized, they are baptized. It was done according to the bare minimum required of the canons. You know, they were baptized with water and in the name of the Holy Trinity. And with the complication with the Serbian Orthodox, these are Orthodox clergy. You cannot have the grace like that. It doesn't work that way. And we can quote mine saints all we want, and we will find other saints that might not agree with them. We have to look where the consensus is, and we have to look where the obedience is. If we don't have obedience, then we are fundamentally missing out on what it means to be a Christian and to be a part of the church. If we can't be obedient.
Okay, I'm struggling to understand this, man. On the one hand, here's Sava. Well, let's welcome him on. Welcome, Sava.
Hello.
Sava?
Sorry, I was about to type a. Hello, do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, I was about to type a message in the private chat here. I'm going to mute myself for a moment.
Okay. All right. Well, I was going to say, I failed to understand this, man. On the one hand, he is now defending the idea that baptisms that are improper shouldn't be corrected. You just have to trust the bishops. But this is the exact opposite of what Father Peter Heers has been teaching, who he was defending as having a very horrible, horrible treatment, and it's very sad for him. Well, which is it? Does he deserve it or not? Hold on one second. Let me see here. Okay. All right. 1 second. And so, let me see here. Question: where does one go to find Orthodox beliefs and doctrine? Well, from the church. So if you are near a true Orthodox church, the best thing to do is getting in touch with a priest. The second best thing you can do is probably engage in catechism. Our own Father Boniface does a catechism class on his channel, Father Boniface Arms, and you can review catechism that way, but you're still going to need to go to a church eventually. You're going to need to get in contact with it, because finding Orthodox beliefs and doctrine in that formal sense, you could do that on Wikipedia. Badger Snake says, I had someone try and tell me my baptism was invalid because it wasn't done within the Orthodox Church, even though Bishop signed off on my baptism. I hate to say it, but I'd have more questions than just, it was, done with the Presbyterians. I'd like to know a little bit more. I think that's only fair. Zealot's Den, read Orthodox Dogmatic Theology by Father Michael Pomazanski. That's a very good book. Thanks, OTP. Is that binding on all Orthodox? It's not exactly, it's more of an educational book than it is a dogmatic book. Orthodox Field says On the Orthodox Faith by St. John of Damascus is good too. Very true. OTP says yes, and oh snap, that's all it's done. Okay, very true. And let's get back to the video.
Into something like this, what makes you think you're going to be able to be obedient into the long term to something as difficult to fulfill as living up to the image of Christ? Christ is the God-man, okay? He's a tough act to follow, but we're supposed to imitate him. And we have the saints who imitate Christ, and we imitate them as they imitate him. We see that really fun, cute meme online of St. Paul's quote where he says, imitate me as I imitate Christ. And it shows, the majestic lion, sometimes Aslan from Narnia, representing Christ, the Lion of Judah. Then we have St. Paul, and it's kind of cartoony, but still a lion. Sometimes it's Simba. And then we have this funny, really terrible, like Microsoft Paint style meme of a lion. And that's us, right? But the whole idea is that if we're at least trying to imitate this, we might get some approximation of that holiness, of that glory that comes from conforming ourselves to Christ. But we're not doing that when we start saying, well, I'm the one with the authority, and because I read this quote and that quote, I'm going to now criticize the bishops and this and this and this. You're setting yourself apart from the church when you do this, quite frankly. The church is hierarchical. And if the bishops bless a rite, that rite is in place by the church. You will not find in the first couple hundred years any mention of St. John's liturgy. In fact, when St. John wrote his liturgy, it was considered a modern innovation. Because
notice how we've jumped from like, we've jumped from like what kind of cassock you have to suddenly like rites are automatically approved by the bishop no matter what. I mean, that's quite the jump, the leap here he's made, but we'll continue.
Even according to St. John Chrysostom's thoughts, modern man at his time in the year, like in the I think it's 3rd or 5th century, and 3rd century, I'm pretty sure it was, men, he said at that time, were too short with their attention span. That modern man could not handle the previous iterations of the liturgy, right? That gives us some idea of that, okay, there has been changes. And even then there were changes with the liturgy of St. John Chrysostom as time went on. Gradual changes, ones that were motivated by councils and by dogmatic proclamations of the church. The iconostasis certainly became much more prevalent after the Seventh Ecumenical Council, for obvious reasons. It was a battle against iconoclasm, right? The denial of the real image of the God-man, and of course, the image that reflects the grace and glory of the prototype.
Okay, I'm going to speed him up because I just noticed he's not at full speed or even close.
Read St. John of Damascus. He has a lot of wonderful things to say in defense of icons. I guess to really end this video off, we have to be careful in our zeal not to lack the wisdom to restrain it, to temper it into something good. We have to realize that ultimately, at the end of the day, obedience to one's bishop, to one's priest, to one's spiritual father is fundamental to exercising humility, to learning, ultimately in the sense, to deny yourself, to go, okay, maybe I don't know everything, and maybe I'm not going to learn everything overnight. Maybe it's going to take me years to figure this out. Guess what? Bad news, if you're looking to become Orthodox, it's going to take you years. Sure, you have information readily available on in higher volume than ever before in history, and on rapid demand with the internet. You can go and read a collection of the Church Fathers online for free instead of having to spend thousands of dollars to get the hardbound copies. You can go read those for free online. There's tons of people.
We recommend this constantly.
PDFs written by saints, by contemporary Orthodox theologians that you can read for free online. It's going to take you a long time to learn how to apply this, how to digest this, how to live with this. It's like you go to the gym and you start lifting. Sure, you might be eating 0.7 to 1 gram of protein per pound of body weight. You might have your macros all in balance, and you might be lifting pretty good, have good technique, using a decent amount of weight, whatever your goals are. Doesn't mean you're going to see those results right away. It doesn't mean all of that protein you've eaten is going to synthesize and build like layers of new muscle right away. It takes time to build up, to synthesize all this, to make it your own, and to grow with it. You don't gain 10 pounds of muscle, even with pharmaceutical aid, in a single week, in a single month, right? You're not going to gain a perfect understanding and application of theology and church canons within a month or even a year of being Orthodox. It's going to take years. And there are priests, including myself, who are still learning how to be better priests after being ordained. Being ordained isn't like, oh, that's it, you've graduated, you know everything you need to know for this level of your field.
Okay, so welcome, Randy. He had some questions. I invited him on. Sava has a couple of questions right after the review, so I want to get those. This is almost over. I don't think there's much more of a point to putting the rest of it on.
This is just the beginning. This is just the beginning for us, right? Give us a break. We're human. Pray for us, and ask us to pray for you, because that helps us to grow as Christians, right? Make sure that as you're entering Lent, that the last thing you do is go looking at your brother's plate. The last thing that you do is go judging this priest or that priest, making this proclamation or that proclamation. Bad news. You're not the bishop of the internet, and you have no authority to do this. Some of these things are complicated matters that are going to take time to iron out. But you know what? If they don't present themselves, the answers will never come. We have to learn to sometimes embrace adversity, and we have to learn how to embrace it in such a way where we're not necessarily reacting to it violently, maybe with some healthy skepticism. Sure, I understand that. But don't use that adversity as a sign for you to now go and start becoming an adversary. Okay, so don't be adversarial. Counter adversity with skepticism. Be slow to accept things you don't understand. That's just wise. Okay? It's doubting Thomas wasn't a doubter. He was skeptical because of his love and loyalty to Christ. And when he realized finally that, okay, I know for sure that this is my Lord and not a deception.
Okay, so I think I think we're kind of good with this. I mean, frankly, yes, it's good to be skeptical. Yes, it's good not to, trust everyone. I mean, we've said that for a while. All right, there's not much more here. I'm gonna kill it. Unless someone wants to keep me watching to the end because there's a surprise ending I'm missing. But yeah, conflating heresy with personal sins. Yep. Okay. Oh, okay. All right. So let's. I'm gonna kill it. So let's do that. And in that case, welcome. I have Saba here. I've got Randy. So we're gonna. I know Saba has some questions, so we're gonna start with him, and and then we're gonna get to Randy's questions. So all right, Saba, welcome back. Always a pleasure.
Hello.
And what's your question?
Well, I'll try to be quick because I don't want to take up all the time. The first question is something that I've been asking a few people because I'm curious about it, which I don't know if my audio is okay today. It's being kind of weird on my end. But
Sounds great to me.
okay, good, thank God. But I know Saint John the Kronstadt, Saint Inikinti of Oleska, and the new martyr Nikolai Varzhansky, which I recently read that the confession, how to confess in the latest Western Rite prayer book, the new version, they all mention superstition as something that needs to be confessed. And I've read some of the lives of the saints, and I get conflicting answers on what superstition is. Would you, like the Russians, Greeks, and the pre-schism Western saints sort of have different definitions of it? What is superstition as they relate it, and because Saint John the Kronstadt treats it as a very serious sin?
Well, superstition is a sin because it usually relies on some sort of false belief that has nothing to do with Christ or the church. Almost always, these are pre-Christian or even sometimes foreign um, false beliefs. At ascription of power to demons. Okay, hold on. Welcome, Badger Snake. We will, we're going in order. So after Sava's questions, I'm going to get to Randy's and we'll get to yours. So ultimately, superstition is basically popular belief that's false, usually in something that is encouraged by the demonic.
Well, I asked a very close friend of ours who's with the Greeks about this, and I can actually just pull up what he wrote. I don't think he minds if I read it. But he says, he asked his priests, I assume, and he said something along the lines of, it's the typical sort of lucky clover, lucky rabbit's foot, touch wood, throw salt over the shoulder, evil eye, that sort of stuff.
All of those have pre-Christian origins.
Well, I remember I saw a quote from St. Gregory of Nyssa where he essentially calls heresy superstition. I've seen quotes from Russian saints where they essentially use the term superstition and sorcery interchangeably. And then in some of the pre-schism Western saints, they refer to superstition as like curses and hexes and things like that.
And they're all right.
Okay, I see. Yes.
It's all encompassing because all of those things take away from the power of Christ and ascribe power to objects and, demons and things like that. So yeah, that's kind of why they're all considered, super. Sometimes it's heresy. Sometimes it's heresy devolves into something pagan.
I see. The second question I have is we recently have been talking about this quite a bit here in Louisiana. I don't know the name of it. I heard it recently, but I can't remember. But the bread and wine that is placed out after Holy Communion, is that only for the illumined, or is that for anyone to partake?
Okay. My understanding is that it is generally for it is only for the illumined. However, that is my understanding. It is simply blessed bread and wine. It's not the mystery. So I have seen people give it as a welcome in the past. I'm not going to judge them. I'm not, and I can't advise on that one. I would leave it up to whatever Father Mark says. I think he's right.
Well, it's interesting because I read the Synod of the Oak, and that was one of the charges they brought against Saint John Chrysostom, was that they said, "Oh, he eats bread and wine after taking communion. That's because he's taking another communion. He doesn't think the one during the liturgy is real." And he said, "No, this is to wash down the Holy Eucharist, so
Right,
you don't
yeah.
actually spit it up." But I don't know. We've been talking about this a lot, and I can't find anything outside of the Synod of the Oak where they actually talk about it.
But I think the Synod of the Oak, with just what you pointed out, kind of demonstrates it. It's not the communion. It's meant to wash it down the way we've always understood it to be. So, from my perspective, one could argue that because a non-Orthodox does not receive the mystery, there's nothing to wash down. And then of course I've heard the argument, giving pearls to swine, etc. I mean, I would probably say it's open for the catechumens and not beyond that personally.
I see. Okay, thank you. Now we'll move on to the other people here, since I don't want to take up all the time.
No problem, Sava. Okay, well, you just way back here if you'd like. Okay, Randy, it's your turn. Let's get to your question.
Hello, Father Joseph. I had a few questions. I briefly recall you had a debate with Zen Shapiro not too long ago on True Orthodox.
It was actually kind of a semi-debate discussion with Andrew, and Zen was hosting. But yeah, that was like 2 years ago.
Yeah, it was quite a while ago. So, I guess I'm currently I've been a catechumen for about 2.5 years now. I'm set to be hopefully baptized, and my fiance is going to be chrismated not this Pascha, but next Pascha. But I just had some questions for you regarding the True Orthodox schism. I'm a little confused regarding your guys' positions. So from what I understand is that you guys were afraid of ecumenist, how would I put this? Like things that you saw that represented ecumenism. Would that represent?
No, that's not accurate at all.
Okay, could you explain it for me?
Because often ecumenical actions such as the changing of the calendar, etc., were issued top down. And so those who didn't, welcome to the Zealots Den, those who didn't agree with those top-down ecumenical movements were arrested, excommunicated, martyred, etc. I realize that most of the presentation that's received on the other side is that we broke away. No, we fought to preserve everything. And the other side, which unfortunately the World Orthodox hierarchies descend from, were the people trying to kill us. So this is why, it's laughable when you see people saying they honor the new martyrs in the Moscow Patriarch, and why they have to keep changing their lives. Because the people who are killing the new martyrs are now the people leading your ecclesial bodies. Does that make sense?
Sort of. I guess I'm a little bit ignorant to the historicity of all of this and like what happened. So if you could illumine me on that, it might be helpful.
When you say illumine you on what? On the history?
Yeah, like basically, like, so you're saying there was some True Orthodox, I guess what we would call, I'm not calling you a schismatic, but what would be called schismatics, and they were being martyred by Orthodox people?
But they were the Orthodox people. Stop it. Okay. If you're the KGB sympathizer, you're not the Orthodox. If you are the ecumenist sympathizer, you're not the Orthodox. And if you're murdering people who don't want to go along with it, you're not the Orthodox. You're kind of keeping this, like trying to say, well, okay, my side is the Orthodox and they're the schismatics. Your side is composed of people who descend from straight up murderers, dude. I don't care how beautiful your church building is. That is reality.
Well, how so? I'm literally just here asking you questions because I
Right.
don't know the history of it. So
I know, but
explain that
you're
is what I'm
kind of-
asking.
well, there's nothing. Okay, there's nothing to explain.
Because I even added an addendum, like I don't know what you're talking about, like
right, but you
because
can't
I don't know
stop-
the history of it.
I understand, and we have
Okay.
lots of videos, by the way, on this on our channel, on the
Okay.
history of the true Orthodoxy in Greece and in Russia and so on and so forth. My concern, and where I kind of turned up the heat a little bit, is because you were still trying to find a way to say schismatic or true Orthodox, not understanding that we didn't invent anything. We're simply the descendants of people that the new hierarchy.
Well, that's why I made the addendum, right? Was like that's the Orthodox Church's position, but it's not my understanding because I don't know the history. That's why I added.
What is the Orthodox Church?
The Orthodox position is that you guys are schismatics. However, I don't know. So listen, let me finish. I don't know the history, so that's what I'm asking you.
All
for.
right. Well, let's start
You
with
understand?
this. True Orthodox see themselves as the Orthodox Church. So we don't care what the world Orthodox say about us. And the reason we don't care about what they say about us is because of where they come from. They're a fraud. You're falling for a fraud.
Forgive me for interjecting here, but I would like to just give some sources. Mr. West, there is a saint. You can find her life online. Her name is Saint Catherine Rotos of Attica. She was 27 years old, a mother of 5, and she was killed by Greek police because she was defending an old calendarist priest. And this was in 1927. You can
many
read about
such cases.
Yes, there was a woman killed the same day as her, Saint Irene. And Father John Fraser, he mentioned in his history, which I don't have a PDF of, but Orthodox Woznar, Fyodor Duffy in the chat, he has a copy of it. You could ask him for it. They relate the story, Father John relates a story about how a new calendarist metropolitan literally strangled an old calendarist priest to death in his church and was given an award by the EP for it. So if you start reading even just from the Greek old calendar side of things, or if you can find sources in Romanian about like St. Pambu, Bucharest and whatnot, you'll start seeing how directly the new calendars were involved. Like in Romania, they're rounding up entire villages and killing them because they refused to use the new calendar. You can find these sources in Romanian and Greek. Some of them have been translated into English. These are a good start if you want to understand what we're talking about when we say, okay, the new calendars are murderers.
Welcome, Zolotis.
Yeah, and essentially, I'm not here trying to be like insulting or anything. I'm generally trying to learn historicity because, from my understanding, from what I've seen from the little bits of debates and etc. between true Orthodox and Eastern Orthodox, is that it all comes down to these things that I mentioned earlier, right? So what I'm trying to get is your guys' point of view, which I don't have. And so like I understand that there's all this like crazy history that happened, but like what I'm looking for, I guess, would be like, can you provide some links for me so that I can look into this stuff? Because
actually, if you go to my website, guardingtime.com, that's not my main site, which is NFTU, but my personal site is guardingtime.com. If you go there, there's some stuff about, music and stuff. But if you scroll down a bit, there's a thing that says a non-definitive list of documents about true Orthodox history, and it has about 30 different links you can get through. I'll actually link it in the private chat. I should also mention, I believe it was somebody put a comment here. What diocese? I'm with the Badger. I'm with the Archdiocese of New York and New Jersey under the Autonomous Metropolia. I'm putting a link in the private chat for my Guarding Time site. Anyone else can find it just by going to guardingtime.com. The calendar question by Father Basil Sakas, which is a great book, Sunrise, is doing that. I know that Unseen Warfare is lost a guy. That's too bad. Unseen Warfare is doing the struggle against ecumenism on audio, so that is point. Well, that's we lost two guys. We lost Zelotus and we lost the guy who came in. So
Father, the Lotus zealots in another language?
yes, it is.
Oh, I thought so. I thought you were calling me when I heard Zelotus.
No, that's he's regular. I hope they both come back. Okay, so did you get the link, Randy?
Yes, I did. Yeah, I'll check that out. So from what I'm understanding, so here's where my confusion lies, though, is that I've attended old calendar and new calendar parishes. So if there's still old calendar parishes and parts of what I guess you're calling world orthodoxy,
Yeah, well, that's the term that they came up with, so we just use it.
Okay, so if there's still parts of world orthodoxy, as you say, that participate in old calendarism, where did all of this arise from?
They don't participate in old calendarism. The majority of the Orthodox world is on the old calendar and always has been.
Mm-hmm.
But when they started communing the innovators with the new calendarists, when they became involved in ecumenism, because there are churches on the formal old calendar that are involved in ecumenism, there are uniates on the old calendar. The point is, the calendar was a symbol of a symptom of something deeper, and that was the illness caused by ecumenism.
So, from your guys' perspective, it would be a symptom, essentially, of something larger.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. So, going back, let me take a step back here. As far as the ecumenist accusations, I've seen some things regarding OCA, which I heartily disagree with. However, outside of that, I'm not seeing much. And so, if I go onto this website of yours, is that going to show me ecumenist leanings within the church, or
it's interesting you point that out. My list was designed to be as much more as historical as possible, but if you're asking for if you're asking for like an actual thing that goes through some of the most salacious and let me see if it still exists.
Something Nectarius had something like that on one of his, I think on his Telegram, where it was examples of ecumenism in each of the local churches.
There's a great book. It's an old book. It's it's at this point kind of historical, but it's still there. It's still there, and that book is Ecumenism: A Path to Perdition by someone named Ludmila. Yes, it still exists online, so I will be giving you that as well.
Okay.
Hold on one more. And yes, for modern stuff, Orthodox Traditionalist Publications website, orthodoxtraditionalist.com. It's interesting that you mentioned the Andra and Zen debate, which is kind of considered like the number 2 debate, because that one kind of ended in, we're going to need to see more documents, and we're going to need to see and more proof ultimately. And that is what I agreed, because if you just assume that what I'm saying is even just slightly less extreme than what it is, then unfortunately one can make a judgment that maybe it wasn't that bad, but it was. It really, really was.
Well, and I think that a larger problem here is that a lot of us converts, because I've found Orthodoxy to be the truth, and I'm steering my family towards it.
Yeah.
And the problem is that we don't know all this crazy history. So at the end of the day, though, I think my biggest question to you would be, even throughout the issues that you've presented thus far, why was the solution to schism, from your perspective,
You're
And
using
I'm just
schism as a
genuinely curious.
verb. Please don't do that.
All right,
That's
I
the
apologize.
wrong
All
way
right,
to use
I'll
English.
retract. I'll retract.
You could say go into schism, but not schism as a
Okay,
verb.
go into schism then. Apologies. I'm still learning all this stuff.
Yeah,
So
it's fine. All the diorites love doing
I
schism
have
as a verb. It's
I have a point
adage.
to that.
Okay.
I have a point. Mr. West,
mhm,
Saint Basil the Great wrote a work called On the Holy Spirit. And in the
mhm.
31st chapter of that book, he goes over what a heresy, a schism, and a parasynagogue are. And he says that schismatics have the same faith, yet are not in communion with the church. So, by that definition alone, which you have to realize St. Basil's definition is basically the standard accepted teaching of what schism is from the Orthodox standpoint, we cannot be schismatics because we do not have the same faith. I usually pose this challenge to people that, of course, we know the measure of which Orthodoxy is held up to, which is the measure of the Holy Fathers, what they taught. We have the apostolic canons, we have the canons of the ecumenical councils. A lot of these are found in the Pedarion, which all Orthodox Christians should know. So we have the standard by which we can view orthodoxy. So we go by the confession of the faith. As St. Maximus the Confessor says, the Orthodox Church is the saving confession of the faith. And if you compare the confession of the faith of, say, maybe the, I don't know, Rokana, GOCK, Avlona, you can compare that to what the Holy Fathers teach and see that it's orthodox. Now, if you compare that to what the World Orthodox teach, their confessions are different than ours. You could compare it to, say, the Balamanad Statement or the Crete 2016 Confession. And there we have a comparison. It is not what the Holy Fathers teach. So, by definition, we cannot be schismatic because we do not hold the same faith. And we can tell by the standard of the Holy Fathers that the World Orthodox do not have the Orthodox faith, but the true Orthodox do. So this is an issue completely separated from the concept of schism by Orthodox canonical law.
Okay.
Hello, Father Joseph, can you say something?
Absolutely.
So I would like to clarify something to Mr. West. First of all, schismatic is someone who is introducing something new in the church. What did we introduce in the church, the old calendarists? We didn't introduce anything. Back at 1924, one day, 6 people, and they were not even monks, they were just laymen. They introduced 13 days, the new calendar, in the church. So this is schismatic. This was schismatic. So we didn't introduce anything. We are just keeping what we got from the Holy Fathers for 2,000 years now. For us to be accused that we are schismatic, somebody who thinks that we are schismatic, he has to come and say, back at 1924, you introduce a new teaching in the church, which is this one, this one, this one, or you introduce something new. So we didn't introduce anything new. That's why they're calling us old calendarists. For me, it's Orthodox calendarists. It's not old calendarists. So when anyone speaks for the old calendarists, I would like to show the respect and say, and stop calling us schismatics. This is a big accusation, and it's not fair.
Well, I think that ties into Zolotas. That ties into Black Orthodox question. It's a super chat. Thank you for supporting the channel. First one tonight. Useful question: was the changing of the calendar a heretical act? If so, what was the appropriate reaction by faithful priests, bishops, priests, and laity? And I think that question goes right to a heart of the issue with Randy's, objection. Ultimately, the changing of the calendar to the papal calendar has a history behind it of rejection by the Orthodox by 400 years. The Orthodox refused to change to the papal calendar in any way, shape, or form. So that is in effect what happened in 1924. Even though they did not know about the document in 1920 and the ecumenical goals, there were people chanting in the street that they didn't want to be Franks because that was what was being introduced. I think the biggest shocker I think Randy, and I hate to say it, but a lot of people are going to discover, and I have to keep bringing this up, is very simply that people don't really have an idea of just how big we are. When Moscow wanted to talk to the true Orthodox of Greece, they realized it was anywhere from 1/3 to 1/4 of the Greek population. When it came to the situation, this is the same situation. Romania, 1/3 to 1/4 of the population, and these are not the original numbers. They've gone up. The point is, they're trying to keep the marketing going as long as they can, but the numbers are changing in our direction and very rapidly. And while it looks like, okay, World Orthodoxy is growing in the US, that's after they had to revise numbers down, when back in the 90s, they used to lie to people and just say that they had millions and millions of people in the US, which they don't. So yeah, keep that in mind. More people will discover the truth, and that will make a difference. Zolotas, you look like you want to say something.
Actually, I was thinking something else about the Gregorian calendar, the new calendar, the Pope's calendar. If it's so perfect, why are they unable to match the Paschalion in it? And they are out of the rules of the First Ecumenical Council about the days. So many things. Someone who is doing his research in the old calendar field, he has to match them in a very different approach than what he sees and he's listening online from the new calendar as priests. Yeah, and of course, before he starts, I'll say that again. You have to do a lot of prayer to God to enlighten you to open your eyes and see the truth. Because we should not do our research by our own. We're gonna get lost. It's a very big field. That's all I want to say. Thank you so much.
No problem, Zolotas. Thank you so much for your comments and question. Thank you to the channel Reconquista Orthodox for $4.99. That's a Compromise and Kenyan Orthodox channels have a lot of info of modern heretical things going on in world Orthodoxy. Yeah, they do. So it is, and thank you for supporting the channel and keeping it alive. We got we have 2 donations today by Super Chat, and we are in the 20th minute of the second hour. Randy, if you don't have any immediate questions, you're welcome to stick around, or if you have more questions, let us know before I head over to the Zealot's Den for his questions.
I guess I would just have kind of one last final question for you guys. I remember back when you had that debate, there was one specific thing that was brought up that I kind of resonated with, that I think that maybe I would like an answer from you. Why would you guys not try to change things inside of the church instead of starting something new? That's kind of where my brain is at right now. Like,
because it doesn't work.
We first off, in reality, if you look at our history, we did try to do that many years ago. And in some cases, it got our people thrown in prison, like in Greece. In some cases, it got our people thrown in prison, like in Russia, or in either case, there was sometimes death involved. The point is, people tried. They did. Like St. Chrysostomos of Florina literally thought that the new calendars were going to change, and held out hope for them, which led to the Matthewites schism. And I recognize the Matthewites as well, because the truth is they were right. He was deceived by them. The same thing happened in Russia, as various attempts to reach out to Sergius, who was Stalin's patriarch, to see what they could do to stop it. So yes, there were attempts. But after that's met with violence, you have to do something else. You can't just, I don't know, like, what kind of peaceful Gandhi-like thing you're going for, but eventually you kind of have to take care of your own, and you can't, like, destroy your flock if you have a giant flock behind you for the sake of making good with somebody who wants to kill you.
Yes, I would add to that point that I mentioned Saint Catherine Rotos of Attica
Mhm.
earlier, and you have to realize between 1924 and 1935, the old calendar church, the Orthodox Church in Greece, was essentially doing the thing that you say we should be doing now. We were, in a way, fighting from within. I hate that term. They
Yeah,
didn't have a hierarchy. That was before Metropolitan Chrysostomos, Bishop Germanos, and Bishop Demetrios formed the first hierarchy for the old calendarists. And again, I mentioned St. Catherine Rhodas, who was killed in 1927. So that was before 1935 when we had a hierarchy. And they murdered this poor woman, a mother of 5, and they murdered another woman the exact same day. They were murdering priests. We have all sorts of clergy. So we tried to do that. I will also share just a brief story, but I'm not trying to take over the call here. When I was there's 2 Zelotus.
Yeah.
Interesting. But when I was a Roman Catholic, I was originally Roman Catholic before I was Orthodox. I went Novus
Baby, come
Ordo.
back.
I'm kidding.
When I was Novus Ordo, I left that and I joined the SSPX. And when I was in the SSPX, I wanted to see, because I thought, okay, maybe this has happened before in Catholic Church history, where there was a group that was opposing what the Pope was doing, the modernism, whatever. And I found out that had existed. The 2 examples I can point to are the Gallicans and the anti-Reformationists. And what happened, and there was other groups as well, what happened in every single case is that they either got condemned as heretics and persecuted, or they just ended up capitulating to Rome. And that's the reason why I left SSPX and I joined the Sedevacantist, and that was a whole other mess. But I kind of learned even in the Roman Catholic Church that fighting from within doesn't really get you anywhere. It doesn't do anything. And the same thing happened with the Orthodox Church. They tried to fight from within these people in Greece, and it got them nowhere. They responded by murdering us. So
Interesting. Well, and again, like a lot of this has to do with my questioning has to do with just pure ignorance of the history. Like I don't know anything about any of this stuff, so I'm definitely going to check out the links that you sent and
There's a
do
lot
some
more
further
too.
research. Yeah, yeah, and I mean anything you guys want to send, feel free. I will check it out. I'm not saying it's going to change my mind or anything, but
Right.
I'm also going to probably reach out to my priest and kind of get our perspective from it and kind of try to find a balance here. But if what you guys are saying is correct, I mean that there are some problems there, and I see it. So
well, Randy, just remember this. When it comes to the confession of the faith, the true Orthodox hold to the teachings of the Orthodox Church, probably everything you've read on paper, probably even faithfully more so. The point I'm trying to make is we know how hard it is for people coming from Protestant and Roman Catholic backgrounds to think they found Orthodoxy and then get disappointed. Don't get disappointed. You found Orthodoxy. You're just looking for the right bishop. That's it. And that's a mistake people have made for 2,000 years with heresies all over. But then it gets corrected.
I just put in the chat 2 things I recommend reading: the Sorrowful Epistles of St. Filaret of New York and the 1983 Anathema of the Rocor against Ecumenism. I think those are very good things to read as well.
okay, cool. I actually took a screenshot of that, so I can check those out.
They're both on Orthodox Info. What is it? Orthodoxinfo.net.
Orthodoxinfo.com, but the author has kind of stopped putting stuff up, so
that's Patrick Barnes' website.
May I ask, is that saying that the Rocor has been anathematized? Is that what that?
Well, the Rocor the Rocor has fallen under its own anathema, or the Rocor MP has, in any case. One problem is this insistence by people in assuming that the Rocor still exists. Zelotes, do you want me to put? Why do you keep adding a second person? I don't know what to do here.
I think he's having technical problems. I don't think this
Yeah.
first one is supposed
All
to
right,
be here.
there you are. There you are. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to remove the other one.
Yes.
Okay, so one thing to remember, the solid stent is very simple. The ROCOR, quote unquote, as you know, it is actually what we call the ROCOR MP. Over the period between 2001 to 2007, probably about a third of the historic ROCOR left the communion with the others and became, part of the chaos, or used to be chaos, that is the true Orthodox churches, but they're not the ROCOR. I mean, the ROCOR MP is not the ROCOR. So what we would say is the ROCOR MP has fallen under its own anathema, because they're the ones who issued the 1983 anathema against ecumenism.
Okay, now, and if someone says they're ROCOR, how do I know if they're ROCOR or ROCOR MP?
You just ask who their metropolitan is.
All right. And the MP stands for, sorry?
Moscow Patriarchate.
Okay, thank you.
No problem. Any other questions there? Or?
Yeah, I was kind of just curious of how to, because I have a few Orthodox buddies and they seem to disagree on things. So how would I know? I can't seem to find like the Orthodox. That's why I asked you. It led me to the Orthodox doctrine and beliefs. So how do I know who's the proper Orthodox?
Well, the beliefs never change. Hold on. We do have a We do have a $5 donation from Presbyterian Maria. Thank you so much for keeping the lights on. And she says, when we were in OCA before coming to True Orthodoxy, we tried quote unquote fighting from within, and we're told to turn a blind eye and be quiet. Very true.
Oh yes, you asked Father Antonios about his experience in the OCA. It was just an absolute mess. But yes, I think I mentioned this earlier, Zelitztin, that we have the measure of what the Holy Fathers taught. We have the ecumenical councils, we have the scriptures, we have the saints, and Father Mark gave a sermon about this a few weeks ago. It's been on the mind a lot recently, but do we say that the scriptures are not good enough for us? Do we say that the canons are not good enough for us? Do we say that the saints aren't good enough for us? Of course they're good enough. We are the ones that are flawed. But when we stay in the Orthodox Church, when we follow the Orthodox Church, because as Father mentioned, lies change all the time, but the truth stays the same. The truth has no reason to change. But lies need to change all the time so they can trick people.
Okay, so can you give me an example, by the way, Zoltan? Like maybe that will help.
Yeah, of course. And very well said, Sabo. Very well said. Well, one was they were debating about baptism. Protestant churches becoming Orthodox and then being baptized or not. I knew a gentleman who came from a Methodist and he wasn't baptized, just chrismated. And another fellow said that's not true Orthodoxy, and he explained why. And then I actually went into some history of the whole baptism things. And so I'm a Catholic, so we have a reason why we do what we do. But I was looking into Orthodoxy, and it seemed the gentleman who said he wouldn't be a valid baptism was correct.
Yeah, in general, Protestant baptisms in True Orthodoxy and historically have been treated, they've been kind of assumed to have been erroneous and were just redone. There's also,
go ahead. So I guess my main question for you, Father, would be how would I go about with charity and love informing maybe a more modernized Orthodoxy to either kind of get with the true Orthodox or like become Catholic or something? They seem to be in no man's land,
You said you were Roman Catholic, right?
Yes, sir.
The best thing you can do to get your World Orthodox friend to become True Orthodox is become True Orthodox.
Yeah, touche, Father, touche.
Remember, that's part of it. It's that whole blind guides leading the blind thing. Like, you can't do that. You gotta, you know that we're the truth. You gotta go find the True Orthodox Church near you.
I would add with historical documents related to baptism. The two saints that come to mind are Saint Cyprian of Carthage and Saint Basil the Great on the Holy Spirit. Recently, there was a book that just came out about Saint Cyprian of Carthage. I bought it. It's sitting on my bookshelf. I haven't read it yet, so it's one of those things I'll get around to eventually. But Saint Ciprian of Carthage said, "In no wise can heretical baptisms be accepted." That was in the 3rd century, and Saint Augustine of Hippo, sort of disagreed with him on that. And Saint Basil the Great mentioned that during his time, they would allow baptisms that were done in proper form. They could be corrected, they could be accepted. And I kind of break it down as it's like a form, like a tax return. It's not been filled out, but it's printed out correctly. You could use it. St. Basil said that he wasn't even a fan of this practice, but it was essentially standard practice by the 4th century that if it was done in proper form, i.e. triple immersion, it could be accepted via oikonomia. The world Orthodox have sort of taken this to where now oikonomia is a standard. Oikonomia is supposed to be an exception, not the rule. But Saint Basil the Great and Saint Ciprian of Carthage sort of show you the historical development of where oikonomia regarding baptism develops in the Orthodox Church.
Okay, and Zelotes, did you have anything to add to that?
No. I like what Sava says. He's actually analyzing it really good. The only thing I can say about the Pope's baptism, this is not baptism at all.
Yeah,
that's the
I
truth.
was baptized. I was a Roman Catholic, and I was baptized into Orthodoxy.
Okay.
Yeah.
Catholic, I would definitely say if you guys don't accept Roman Catholic, there's no way a Protestant sect should be accepted.
Well, yeah,
no way.
An Orthodox church is in schism. Is there any advice I could give a laity to because they say that they just ask their spiritual father and then he okays it, but if you're listening to a schismatic, that's probably not good advice. And that's coming from a schismatic, I get it, but well, you can.
It's a problem of perspective. Like if because you say, well, his advice is bad because he's schismatic. He can turn around and say, but where are you from? And if you're a Roman Catholic, in theory, he could say the same thing about you. So you always want to be consistent with your position. Yeah. Wait, stupid Albertan. Oh, that's not nice. Puts in $10 Canadian. Says, I wonder if Elder Gabriel of George is recognized as a saint in the GOC. Not to my knowledge. I highly recommend reading about the various the drunk saints. I've mentioned, them occasionally, and he was one of them. But no, none of us have glorified him. From what I understand, he did obey ultimately Patriarch Elia, who was definitely Soviet. So I do apologize about that, but thank you for helping keep the lights on.
I know some people that talk about Gabriel Ergobaje. He's one of those figures, kind of like, I guess, like Father Ephraim of Kadunarkia or Elder Joseph, or the cave dweller, where they might have done some obfuscation with his life. They might have edited his life. I haven't really talked to any of the true Orthodox Georgians about him, but I know some people that they don't think that the story that he returned to Iria is real. I don't really know with him. I know some people that are true Orthodox that venerate him, and I don't really say anything because I don't know enough. I don't know if anyone knows enough to really say that.
Yeah.
As about that one, if you allow me, how many old calendarist churches did we have in Georgia when this saint was living? No one. So
none, because they were all the catacombs were living at that time. Yeah.
Yeah, it was hard back then to move from place to place in Soviet Union, right? I think I think people were saying things, about the communists and KGBs and were everywhere and things like that. Even more for the priests and the monks. So in that case, I would find an economia. If this guy was at the mountains of Caucasus, 5,000 meters above the sea level, and he wasn't able to move from village to village, I could say some economia. But, things like baptism, okay, there's no economy in that one. Like the Pope's baptism we were talking before with Zilot Dan, right?
Yeah. All right. Did you have any other questions for us, Zoltan?
No, sir. Thanks for having me and entertaining them.
Always welcome. Have a great night. God bless you.
God bless, brother.
Okay, so let me see here. Let's see here. Yeah, there's going to be debate about obviously the case of Elder Gabriel. I realize that. So it's
I've heard information on both sides. I know he was mentioned
yeah.
in one of the old Rokor publications. It could have possibly he might have been like Saint Rustin Popovich. He might have been like a non-commemorator, but I don't think we know enough about him.
I was wondering when someone would say this, but here we go again. A dire debate just started. Please call in. There is no way for me to get into a dire debate unless someone sacrifices a Discord account or I don't think he does opens on StreamYard, and Twitter can't actually get through because I'm blocked by him on Twitter. The truth of the matter is, we managed to have a dire discussion with Dyer in 2023, and that was all. That's all we could do. That's about it. And I'm good with that.
Father, I have three more quick questions, hopefully, to go over, but we
Sure.
can go over those in a minute. Oh, okay. They're one of my favorite topics, Ukraine.
Oh boy.
The first one, no, hopefully these aren't too bad. First is I saw the Avlona calendar book from, I think, 2015, and it showed that there were still some Ukrainian true Orthodox left in Ukraine that were, I guess, from the Peter Vladimir line. Are those people still around? Are there any remnants of the true Orthodox?
If I remember correctly, it was either 2016 or 2017 because they were in communion with our Metropolitan Seraphim of Moscow. They broke communion with them, saying that they were too pro-Russian and that they needed to be on their own, and they literally broke communion with everyone, and we never heard from them again.
It was politics. Yeah, it was about politics.
Yeah.
The second question is, of course, I know the Milan Synod was in communion with Peter Vladimir, blessed memory, and they were very briefly in communion with Fyodor Denishenko until they realized that he was crazy.
Yeah, that all took place within a year. Yeah.
But the UAOC, Peter Dmitry, do they have any overtures with the UAOC or no?
From what I understand, the UAOC, Dmitry, didn't they eventually become the kind of the synod of Methodi Kuryakov?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, they never really reached out to us. I think they were more interested in being more officially recognized. But when it comes to what happened with Filaret, yeah, that all went down within a year. Patriarch Volodymyr, died under mysterious circumstances.
Poisoned.
And they had he had just reaffirmed our tomos. Filaret then went and ran with it and wanted to take over everything and claim it was all UAOC, and Metropolitan and Vlogius wanted nothing to do with it. It started a hacker war. There was a point where they had hacked all our websites. It was crazy. This was also when what's his name came out with the Masonic certificate. So it was a bad time all around. And this is also when Lazar Puchalo decided to jump ship, which is actually probably was a blessing in disguise.
Oh yes, yes. The last question I have about the UAOC, and now this is a claim that there's no source for it. Russian Wikipedia, already a great start, I know, claims that Yugoslavia was a prevalent issue in the UAOC. And
I never heard that.
Yeah, my spiritual father, he never mentioned anything about it. I think I asked him about it once. And of course, Vladika Miroslav, he knew St. Feofana Poltava, who of course dealt with the issue at the 1917 Sobor. And I don't think he really said much about it. I don't think the UAOC really even talked about it. But I don't know if this is just a Russian Wikipedia slander because they love doing that, or if that's an actual thing.
Yeah, no, I've never heard that. There's Russian Wikipedia is, as much as they hate us, they're way better sourced on stuff concerning the true Orthodox than we are, and also other groups like the UAOC. But I've never heard of Yugoslavia being a part of their confession in any way, shape, or form. To my knowledge, there's no Ukrainian leader of note that professed Yugoslavia.
Okay, yes.
All right.
I have a question for Savas.
Sure.
Yes,
Yeah. Are you Serbian?
yes, I am Serbian.
Nice. Which place?
What's that? Where from?
Yeah, which place of Serbia?
My family is from Niš in the south.
Oh, nice. The city Saint Catherine the Great was born.
Yes, but I live in the United States. I was born in the United States.
Okay, nice. You're all Calderist? True?
Yes,
Awesome.
I'm true Orthodox.
Nice.
Yeah, he's with Arpats. Roak.
Rock? Oh, okay. Nice. Happy to hear that.
Okay, welcome, Reader John. How's it going?
Father bless.
May God bless you in the name of the Father, and the Son, and the Holy Spirit.
I must confess, it started out weird because as soon as I started listening to the stream, I heard a bomb drop.
What?
I heard your a bomb drop. I was like, "What?"
Oh, yeah. I owned up to it. I apologize for it.
Hey.
I try not to use that, but sometimes when what you're seeing on the screen is so ridiculous, the wrong thing is said.
Well, it's in the Bible. It says it's okay.
Well, in any case, yeah. So, oh boy. Well, what am I going to do? I'm sure someone may clip it and remix it and just
It happens.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, Vodic Andrei just calls the Democrats the jackasses. He doesn't even call them Democrats.
Okay, well,
it's a little bit better.
Let me see here. I'm gonna check now. I've been putting up super chats and I've been putting up member chats. So I'm gonna try to scroll back and see if I missed anything that was kind of important. OTP says the bottom line is the scriptures, fathers, saints, councils, and liturgical texts do not support resist within ideology, and that's something you can learn from his book, The History of Resistance, which is available on Amazon. TTC says it's worth taking the time to fully understand the true Orthodox position before setting it aside. This takes time. Very true. Black Ortho Acolyte notes that the GOC book under Subdeacon Ictarios is very good. The calendar question is also good. The Orthodox field is, he makes points about, the true confessing bishops. Very good. So let me see here. Again, it is the live Q&A stream. So if you want to jump on stream to ask a question or make a comment, just click the link in the top of the chat. Let me see here. I'm going to start putting up the super chats that I got. I still don't... God willing, I will be able to figure out OBS this week. And that means that,
upgrades.
I'll be able to upgrade a little bit. So right now I'm going to just update this so that we have, let me check here, go back to comments.
I noticed with that, the young catechumen gentleman, I think the problem he was having is he was defaulting to world orthodoxy in his thinking.
Yeah, and that's what I really wanted to correct him on. Because Anonymous Man 115 says, "Did you see my question, Father?" I did not. Let me get to it.
Scroll.
Looking for it.
Or you can restate it. That would be easier.
Okay, wait. Questions for Lent. This is my first Lent. Okay, Zoloto Spanish. Hopefully comes back. This is my first Lent. What are some good dishes? In all honesty, it's really what I would say is if this is your first Lent, you want to be as kind of adaptable as possible, but also don't drive yourself nuts. If I've heard, like, I've heard people say, like, for example, that if you're eating veggie burgers, it's like eating a burger. If it's not made of meat, that's a garbage argument. And frankly, if it's your first Lent and that's what you're used to, go with that. If you're looking to try new things, highly recommend looking into Asian dishes as well as Mediterranean dishes. Look into falafel, look into a number of those. Because a large part of it is the protein. If you focus on finding good sources of protein, whether they be very, very natural sources, or even less than perfectly natural sources, that is that's a good thing. Okay,
lentil soup is good.
Ortho Pirate has just become a new member. If you have more questions about that, Anonymous Man, just let me know. So that's great. Really appreciate that.
I like something. I like something Father Methodius Chevestik, who we just visited in Michigan, said. He said,
I heard
whenever
you. Oh, go ahead.
Oh yes, he said something along the lines. By the way, I see Anastasia in the chat. Hello, I'm hoping you're doing well. But Father Methodius said that anytime he sees one of those great Lent cookbooks, he just shakes his head. It's not a fad diet. It's not about that. I think something that Septiconticon says all the time, and he's correct, is that the fasting from food part should be the easiest part of Great Lent. If that's the hardest part of Great Lent, then maybe your priorities are wrong.
Misplaced priority.
Saint Moses.
I gotta stop you on this because you gotta meet people where they are. If it's your
That's
first
true.
Lent, the hardest thing is going to be the food. Period. You're just
true.
You're not going to know what to eat. So
yeah,
I'm not. I get it. I get why people don't like it. Why people don't like doing things like treating the fast like a diet or a fad or something.
Yeah.
But it's not a bad thing to have a Lenten cookbook, as long as it's a good cookbook. I mean,
that's a whole nother debate.
Yeah, because some of them kind of suck. But the point is that there's still a few good ones, but it is tricky.
Well,
I like a quote.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go
I
ahead.
like a quote from Saint Moses the Ethiopian, where he said that if we fast from food only during Great Lenten, we do not increase our spiritual works, then we join the fast of the demons.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah,
course,
obviously we're supposed to pray more. We're supposed to go to services more, etc. I get that. I just what I don't want to do is condemn people for whom just the fast of food is itself a great cross.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah, we have to be balanced about it.
My observation is that what Sava is quoting, these holy saints lived in a culture where it was normal.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Versus we live in a very Protestant culture where they kind of look at you like you're crazy if you're fasting, and there's not a lot of resources outside of unfortunately world orthodoxy. And
granted.
So yeah, I mean, these are things that you may want to consider when you're going through the fast.
Don't lose the forest through the trees, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right. But my only point is to remember that there's still a forest.
Don't climb the tree. At least not during Lent.
Let me see here. Give me just a moment while I try to add things.
You can eat the tree, though.
Okay, one moment.
What do you usually try and include in your fast, Sava?
I just eat hummus a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but don't you eat that all year?
Well, yes. At one point, I used to eat hummus 5 to 6 times a week, and recently, some people in our church here have tried to get me to stop doing that because they say it's unhealthy. So now I usually eat hummus 2 to 3 times a week.
Okay. Yeah. definitely. It is. I think it's unhealthy to eat hummus just almost exclusively.
Well, the reason I was asking is like within true Orthodoxy, we have so many different traditions that actually kind of talk to each other.
Yeah.
So we kind of borrow from each other's traditions, and
yeah, I know that there's a few different things that you can eat while fasting. I know in every tradition. I'm just learning about some of the new kind of like Greek dishes that are fasting, because I hate to say this, no offense, Lotus, I always focus on the Greek dishes that are not fasting.
me too.
Because I really like those. But that's something that that every culture. What's your favorite fasting food, guys? Let's go around the room. Why not?
My favorite fasting food is the blessings of my spiritual father. Because anytime I try to do fasting without his blessing, all the diets, the ideas I followed, they were done. I didn't make it. So
wow.
once I had his blessing, I managed to do the 3 days. Food off
The first 3 days. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's no. There's no recipe to that. What he is referring to, for those who don't know, is that's actually a xenophagy, and so that's the first 3 days not eating anything, which God willing, we'll see who can do that over in our end. Okay. Let's see here. Reader John, what's your favorite?
Oh man, favorite. I bounce between like lentil soup, like barley soup. I'm a soup god during the fast. Or I like beans. I generally don't like to eat too much what I call rabbit food, which is like a lot of lettuce and stuff. But
without the
good.
Without the rabbit.
Without the rabbit.
Makes sense. Yeah, so I mean,
don't eat the rabbit.
No.
Yeah, there's a lot of different things that can be eaten for protein during the fast.
Yeah.
I hate to say that I love that. There's shellfish is always good. I'm a big shrimp guy. But also, I flip to the other extreme as well, which is like I will look through all of the chemical things that are unhealthy, etc. But we have simulated a burger, and it's using soy protein isolates and a little bit of methyl cellulose.
I'm allergic to soy, so I can't really do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
What?
But I did find this brand called Crave House that made these burgers last year that, frankly, they were fantastic. I don't know that they tasted exactly like meat, but they were good. But in any case, let's see here. Yeah, Saba as well. He likes hummus. He likes hummus all the time.
Well, I guess I'll besides
you gotta
hummus,
diversify. You have to diversify.
Besides hummus, I like there's this Spanish dish, moros y cristianos. That I really like. It's just rice and
black beans and white rice.
Oh, that's good too.
I just like the name Moros y Cristianos. I like that.
In Miami, they're a little more blunt about it. I've seen it just advertised in supermarkets as blancos y moros, which just means blacks and whites. But you can eat them all. Yeah, but
that's what that was in Miami. Okay.
I can't eat shellfish because I'm allergic.
There's some good suggestions here. Tikhon says peanut butter and jelly will get you through the fast. He's not wrong. I know lots of people who live on peanut butter and jelly. No, it's good stuff. I'm not, I don't do it, but
I hate peanut butter.
Sunrise says hummus and carrots. That's not bad either. Anything that's a dip with, that's kind of good.
Cabbage soup every day.
Minnie says, when's the NFTU cookbook coming out? Hopefully never, unless I make an NFTU cooking channel, in which case I'll do that, which will probably never happen.
So let's see, the NFTU light is 100, so that cookbook would have to be 50.
Well, I still have to work out things. I got to get back to the real products like incense and stuff
Yeah.
that I have.
Yeah, fair enough.
Oysters.
Yeah, bad news for the dipping is that that requires a lot of bread. For those who want to combine diet with fasting, not a good idea.
Unless you're using like vegetables, like if you just use broccoli for dipping or carrots, they have like no
Okay,
calories at all.
Yeah, that,
I like
that's true.
what's that stuff called? I like non bread.
Well, non-bread. Oh, that'll kill you. You're gonna be that's so filled with carbs. That's crazy. I wouldn't do it.
I'm not talking about for the fast.
Oh, okay. NFTU peanut butter, not happening. Oysters and shrimp, tasty. Always good to ask for your priest blessing. Yes, it is. Rice and beans, always good. Classic.
Shrimp and grits.
Especially depending on your culture. For me, rice and beans I grew up with it. Or not during the fast because I wasn't Orthodox. And it would just be rice, beans, and like an egg on top of it or some meat on top of it. So when it becomes Great Lent, it's just like, okay, put some tofu on top of it.
Mm-hmm.
Put some,
what about shrimp and grits? You had any of that?
Ooh.
I'm allergic to shellfish.
Oh, I'm sorry. How about just grits?
I'm not. Grits are a southern thing. They're very popular down here. But the last time I tried to eat shellfish, it was actually when I visited father here, and I went to the hospital. So I can't do that.
Wait a second. You ate shellfish? I didn't see you eat shellfish.
Well, no, that was after I left the house. I ate shellfish, and I went to St. Ticon's, and like my throat swelled up. I remember
sure that wasn't St.
Ticon's in the hospital.
Wait, so you had shellfish in between the house and going to St. Ticon's?
Yeah, I forgot that I was allergic to shellfish, and I ordered a lobster roll for breakfast.
No. Oh, no.
My goodness.
I've been feeling guilty about that for like a year, bro.
It's on you, bro.
On a different note.
No, it's because you ordered a lobster roll. That's not my fault.
Yeah, it's not. I didn't blame you for it.
And then you went to a New Calendar monastery.
Well, I remember I called you. I said, "Hello, Father. I'm in the hospital." And you were like, "What did I do? What did I do?" I tried to tell you didn't do anything,
but you have to do some praise now.
All right. So, what copy of Orthodox Field asks, what copy of the latter do you recommend? I got a blessing from Father Mark to read it during Lent. I recommend the online one. That is the Master John edition, because they took out all of the they kept all of Saint Nicodemus's commentary and took out all of Macracus's commentary. So, and it's searchable, like it, you can jump around to the table of contents, etc. That one is available. I believe we may have a copy on the cafe. I know I have a copy, and I know it's available on Scribd. If you have any problems getting it, just let me know, and we'll find a way. Orange juice and oysters. Well, that's fancy.
Orange juice and oysters.
That's an interesting concoction.
And then on wine days, it's like orange juice. It's like what do you call that? A screwdriver and some oysters in the morning, watching the sunrise. Raw almond milk. Okay.
Raw almond milk.
I don't know what is raw almond. You have to cook the almond.
How's that different from almond milk?
Raw milk is just ground together, and it's just a powder you mix. And it's like Metamucil.
Oh, crap.
Black Ortho Acolyte says, let's see, rice, fruit, potatoes, oysters, shrimp, scallop, tomato sauce. You'd be surprised at how many ways you can mix that together.
I did want to ask, someone mentioned peanut butter. Sivikun Thikon mentioned it. You remember, Vodika Irenark in Tula, he loves peanut butter.
I would not be surprised. That seems like, he's kind of, he's a high energy guy he used to be anyway. And he probably, it's got carbs for if you're doing a lot of walking, etc. Definitely.
I don't know if you heard this story, but there was a certain person who tried to bribe Vodika Valentin with $200 USD and Vodika Irenark with a jar of peanut butter to depose or defrock or excommunicate Vodika Andrei. And
no, I never heard this story.
Vladika Valentin called up Vladika Andrei. Peanut butter is apparently hard to get in Russia. And
Yeah,
he called
it
up
is.
Vladika Andrei and he said, is $200 a lot of money? And Vladika Andrei is like, well, maybe. Like, why? I said, well, this priest came and he gave me $200 and Vladika Yanark a jar of peanut butter and then started talking bad about you. I think he wants us to do something about you. It's so crazy.
Wow. No, I never heard that story. That's after my time. Let's see. Zenaida says black bean and mango salad and eat with rice. Okay. Oh, go ahead, Zolotus.
No, I'm just my throat a little bit. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Baptiste says, unfortunately, animal protein replacements are expensive in Europe. They are. You can make them yourselves. I hate to say you can make tofu out of any bean. You can eat any bean. But as Sava said, peanuts are expensive. A lot of nuts are there. I did notice that. Halva is made out of it's made out of, I want to say pistachios over there. But animal, you have, if you have beans, you're 90% of the way there. And then shellfish cover
Is a seaweed salad Lenten?
Well, actually, Mediterranean is full of a lot of fasting food, like calamari and octopus and stuff like that. And they are not that much expensive, like here in US and Canada. They are much cheaper down there, and people they can fish them by their own if they are nearby the beach. Actually, they are doing it. So, and there are many things they can find to eat in Greece, or at least in Greece, beans, green beans, and all those things. But there is no excuse. God created all the earth in that way, so everybody can find ways to fast.
There's always there's different ways to fast for everyone. Someone said Raconquista says dip oysters inside hummus, delicious. Benaya says plantains aren't bad at all. No, they're not. Lamont, here we go. Another interesting question. Can you have oils on the fast? And the answer to that question is sometimes. Please check your calendar. Let's see.
Officially, unofficially, it's sorry.
I would personally.
Yeah. So go ahead.
Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
It's actually up to the person and his spiritual father. There are people with, some people have health issues, like do the whole fasting. Some other are allergic to, few foods.
Mhm.
Like there was a story about the elder Athanasius of Esphigmenou back at 1950s and 60s. Right, he had a very hard disease. And back then they didn't have medicine, so the doctors provided him to eat meat every day. Otherwise, he's gonna die.
Yeah, it happens.
Yeah,
and then there's different traditions. In the Western tradition, they allow for small fish. And that's still not, and they're not too strict on the oil. The point is, you should talk to your priest about it. I can't tell you what to do. It's not my job. All I can do is refer you to your calendar, and if you have issues, you have to talk to your priest about it.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that there's general fasting rules, but at the end of the day, we have to talk to our spiritual fathers about
exactly
our circumstances, and usually, if you're pregnant or sick or
diabetic,
you're elderly, then. Yeah, definitely talk to your spiritual father because most likely you will not be fasting.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. So these are things to be considered. Literal sugar maple syrup, says Black Ortho Acolyte. Well, that's tasty stuff. Not bad. It is. It's fasting. Yeah. Maximo says we need your anti-ecumenical recipes.
Seaweed salad.
Orthodox Donuts official says protein maxing. Fronoma protein shakes from Sunrise. Nan bread has butter. Yeah, it does.
Let's use the ancient Egyptian fasting food of the desert of the Holy Father's.
It tastes like sand.
Yeah, it's actually it was actually dry bread with salt water, nothing else.
Oof.
Every 2 days.
And Maximo says paleo calendar diet. Okay, that was good. Okay, suddenly muted for 1 minute. Is it just me? Yes, it was a glitch in my PC. Okay, now. Okay, I hear it. Poor
Someone
thing.
mentioned plantains.
Yeah,
Plantain.
those are
I
good.
think Father Boniface would approve of that.
Absolutely.
Those are good.
In
Oh,
Mount
that's
Atlas, they use a lot of tahini. Do you know tahini?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah,
Tahini's good.
so they use it. They use it a lot. They are making soup out of that and combine it with a little bread. I was actually, I discussed it. I didn't like it at all, but it's
Bread chowder.
it keeps you. Yeah.
Okay. Saint Genevieve says Depression era cooking.
And y'all are making me hungry.
Saint Genevieve says Depression era
What
cooking
time for
potatoes
getting
and
hungry?
onions. And Anonymous Man 115. Shrimp. I thought fish wasn't allowed most days. Shrimp is not fish. Shrimp is in
Shellfish.
fact it's shellfish, which is allowed on almost every day of the year. And it's so as long as if it's a shellfish, it's okay.
Just watch it if you have high cholesterol on that shrimp, though.
Yeah.
Memento Mori says ceviche always feels like a feast during fast. Indeed, shrimp ceviche. Yep. And that's compromise. Says onion stir fried in wine is pretty good. That is pretty good.
I have a feeling that we made the most tasty fasting start ever.
Man, I'm definitely rewinding this video during my fast.
Homemade sourdough every day.
Get some
Conrad
ideas.
says water and ice cube soup.
I got the recipe for that.
Reconquista Orthodox says maple syrup and hummus is delicious. This is actually a disturbing trend. I have seen this in Aldi, but they do have vanilla and chocolate flavored hummus.
Cucumber and tomato salad.
Cucumber and tomato salad's good.
Well, the most easiest is popcorn. Just popcorn.
Anonymous Man 115 says, I know I'm working a lot spring break, so I'm figuring out good dishes to keep me going. However, I trust God in all this. Pray me to attend liturgy as much as possible. Glory to God. John MC says, Anonymous Man, shrimp and calamari are allowed shellfish. Fish with backbones, blood, and scales are not allowed except on certain days as annunciation.
Eggplant's pretty good.
And it should be noted that fish with backbones, blood, and scales, those are slightly larger fish. A sardine has barely an edible backbone with no blood or scales. It's tiny.
Yeah. I would like to provide a keto fasting. So for breakfast, shrimp salad, no oil, and for let's say late lunch, early dinner, around 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, last meal, green bean salad, no oil again, just salt and this is something I used to do, and trust me, I lost a lot of weight. Monday to Friday.
Wow.
For the weekend, you can have free anything with oil and bread, but just for the weekend and fasting, of course. And I guarantee you're gonna lose about at least 15 pounds, maybe 20, maybe more. It depends on people.
Okay. Well, let's take a look here. Let's continue. Where are we? I know I'm working a lot. Spring breaks. I'm figuring out good dishes to keep me going. However, I trust in God and all this. Pray for me to just attend liturgy as much as possible. Well, God willing. Shrimp and calamari, allowed shellfish. We saw this part. Okay. Me and my wife are going to be happy now. I'm putting everything up on the screen. That's chaos. Stuffed bell peppers, lentil loaf, says Presbyterian.
Oh my goodness!
I have never tried lentil loaf. Now I am curious now.
Yeah, I'm curious.
Yeah.
Stuffed peppers with lentil?
Well, stuffed bell peppers with lentils and rice is that's easy.
That sounds really good.
Yeah. That you can do a lot with. With a bell pepper, you can do all sorts of things. Reconquista Orthodox $2. Thank you for keeping the channel going. Says seed oils are meant to kill us. Use olive and coconut.
I do agree.
Yeah, those are the ones for fasting periods. John of Z says we eat lots of lentils, chickpeas, beans, cabbage, mushrooms, carrots, beets, and you can mix them all together into a giant stew. Let me see. Father, forgive me, but I had to leave for a bit earlier. Were you or the other participants able to recommend any news apps for daily reading besides social? Also, Yandex and DuckDuckGo thoughts. Obedience, I cannot recommend more than I use myself. And for my news, I use social, and I almost never go to news sites anymore. Let me see. They stick AIDS, Che, in the Orthodox field. Sunrise asks, are Jew Wheaties vegan? Yes, they are. They're 100% wheat.
Jew Wheaties? I thought they had blood in them.
I didn't think. I thought they were just. I thought they were just the wheat. Okay, now that's maybe this is more sinister than I thought.
It is sinister.
They stick AIDS chemicals in all the fake oils. There's all. Yeah, they're not good for you anyway. Reckon Keys says dirt cookies are great for fasting as well. Thank you for supporting the channel. Orthodox Field says reject AIDS chemicals. Volodymyr says thoughts about Trump. Thoughts about Trump.
He's president.
He's president, and he's doing things. Lamont 809 says Father Peter says no shrimp. Yeah, well, which father? Are you talking about the Father Peter? Let me put it this way. If it's a Father Peter I don't know, I don't really care about his opinion. And if it's a Father Peter hears, I really don't care about his opinion. So let's see here. President Maria says rice and bean tacos. Those are good. Orthodox Donuts official says kale, Maxi. Okay.
Kale. Kale's tasty too.
DTC says wheat flour tortillas are tasty. They are. Father Antonio says corn tortillas are the only way. Oh boy. Lamont says what is Memento Mori asks Lamont, what is he based it on? First time I heard someone say no shrimp. Yeah, I don't know what that is either.
Well, that's correct.
T-Gon F says alligator.
The shrimp thing?
Gator is Lenten.
Is it?
Yeah, it is. It is.
I mean, that's a tough one. I'm not sure.
The thing with someone asked about shrimp.
Yeah, well, apparently a Father Peter said no shrimp.
About shrimp. Sorry, my internet connection's big.
This is going to be...
Okay, according to the Russian practice, you can only have shellfish on days in Great Lent where oil are allowed.
Yeah.
So you can't have it every day of Great Lent.
Yeah, that is Father Peter's not Russian.
No. That is a Russian custom, and I remember going and eating on certain days where I would order shrimp and stuff, and people would be like, "Oh, you eat like a Greek." Okay, I'm okay.
That's what else Russians have, caviar days.
Yeah, they do have caviar days. And those are awesome.
They are awesome.
So alligator, I'm leaving that up in the air for now. I'm not sure. It's a reptile. I'm just not sure if it counts as a fasting. Arthur J says corn tortillas are indeed superior. Orthodox Donuts official says Jay Dyer will always be the king of Basehead. Okay. John MC puts up a member chat. There were many Greeks, Georgians, Romanians, Serbs, and Russians in Paris. Plenty of really well-made and tasty dishes. We all looked forward to it. Many fell into gluttony and gained weight.
What about cabbage rolls?
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I've heard that the Russians are allowed to have fish during fasting. Is it true?
It's not officially on the calendar. It's not true. However, there are Russians who do it.
Depends. Not on the Great Lenten fast. They usually do it for the Nativity fast or other fasts.
Yeah, and they also do it for the Apostles fast. So in general, it's a bit of a looser calendar in that sense. But Russians eating fish doesn't shock me. Let me see here. Sunrise, king of not debating true Orthodox. Very true. The Orthodox field, just ignore him, LOL. Orthodox LOL. I wonder if we're just going to see a Kyrios Pascha before the end of the world. Well, considering we don't know when the end of the world is, no idea. John MC says,
To be determined.
yeah, I don't know. My auto spell check prefer beats and beats. Kosher Jeweedy, says Black Ortho Analytes. Zenaida, tahini cake is a fasting cake. Arthur J says tahini cake interesting. Arthur J says never heard of that.
Tahini cake?
Sunrise, how do I tell my friend not to have a Jewish surfing instructor?
I don't think that's in the canons. You'll be all right.
Yeah, that's fine. You don't have to tell him that because it's not. There's nothing in the canons about it. He'll have oxalates and give massive diarrhea. Thank you for supporting the channel, Reconquista. Lamont says Peter H said they don't eat shrimp before Lent in the Greek Old Country. Okay, that's great, Lamont. Orthodox Donut Official says kale is good for protein.
I like
Baptiste,
that. I like how Father Peter here speaks for all of Greece because different parts of Greece have different customs.
Yeah.
Right, Lotus?
Today we commemorate a Saint Praetori.
Yeah.
Saint Praetori, the orach eater. Orach is like the bitter part of the spinach plant, which isn't kale. Don't kale and spinach come from the same plant? I forget.
They're related, but I don't think they're the same plant.
Yeah.
Okay. But like orach is like a sour version. You could eat that if you want.
Okay.
Kale's kind of bitter and spinach is not, I would say, more on the sweeter side.
Okay. Let me see here. Orthodox Donuts Official says Orthodox kale is good for protein. Okay. Baptiste says if I find myself in front of a cryptid mix of a pig and a shrimp, can I eat it during Lent? I don't think you'll find that. But if it was, it would depend on whether it was more shrimp than pig. And it would depend on things like the backbone, etc. Orthodox Donuts Official, you got to cook to remove the oxalates. Stephanie Davis, Matcha Stephanie says zoodles, zucchini noodles. I've never even forgot about those. I don't know if you guys have a spiralator. They're basically like you can put like carrots or zucchini or squash and just make noodles out of them.
Yeah,
they're really good.
Oh, man, I'm writing all this stuff down.
Orthodox Donuts Official says Orthodox correct. He says, my World Orthodox told me I can have alcohol was fine. No, you can't have alcohol on many days of Lent. Lamont 809, why do we have these long fasts if they're not apostles? Okay.
Apostolic, you mean?
Yeah, just look up tradition, Zenaida says tahini cake, 1 cup tahini, 1 cup sugar, juice of 1 orange, 2.5 cups flour, 1/4 cup ground teaspoon cloves, 2 teaspoons baking powder. The whole recipe here. 1 teaspoon ground cinnamon, mix and bake for at least 45 minutes, at least 350 degrees. Kale is lower in oxalates. Sunrise says NFTU air fryer. That's awesome. Arthur J says that's awesome. Thank you for the recipe. Anita, okay. And so I'm going to add to the banner the 3 donations that our Reconquista has made. And let me just see here.
That's crazy. That's not being apostolic.
With the alcohol question, I was told very recently that beer is not alcohol. You can have that. You just can't get drunk, obviously. You can't get drunk any time of the year.
Yeah, I mean, I would hold to that position. I question these days, especially whether that's healthy.
I was told no spirits.
No, well, beer is technically not a spirit.
Beer with 0 alcohol, yes.
The rule I was told. Sorry, Father.
No, go ahead.
The rule I was told is that you can have beer, you just can't get drunk. You can have wine during certain days of Great Lent, and you can't have any liquor, no vodka or slivovitz or rakia or anything during Great Lent. That's not
be too much fun.
Yeah. All right. So let me see here. Getting people thanking Zanita for the tahini cake, something I've never heard of. So very interesting. Memento Mori says, is anyone trying the new chalk Fronoma flavor? I don't know. Reconquista Orthodox, thank you again for your help with the channel at $5. If cigarettes help suppress appetite, would it be wrong to tell people to smoke to help with the fast?
Oh, smoking.
Nicotine is healthy, Father. Make your own cigs. First off, I'm struggling with quitting, not with finding a better way to do it. I hate to break it to you, but in my heaviest smoking days, I was rolling my own. I know it's cheaper, but it's not.
It's more natural
better.
too.
But it's not better. It isn't better at all.
Yeah.
St. Philaret in New York told people they couldn't smoke during the Great Lent. I know he did that, so I would say maybe not during the Great Lent.
Yeah, I mean, ultimately, smokers will often just smoke through the fast, but the point is, you're not getting any spiritual gain by using tobacco as an appetite suppressant. In the first place, it's not a very good appetite suppressant. Otherwise, there wouldn't be fat smokers. In the second,
we're smoking from we're fasting from smoking too, right?
well, if you can, it's technically. I mean, I don't
Fasting
know
from smoking and drinking and sexual.
You're restricted from alcohol and you're restricted from sexual relations.
Yeah.
I'm not aware of any typicon that says anything about smoking. I'm not defending smoking.
Well, depends. Do you consider smoking pleasurable?
Yeah, well, I mean, I hate to break it to you, but the truth of the matter is, for most people, smoking is not pleasurable. They're addicted to it. It's a drug.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm asking. It's not the act of smoking itself; it's the mindset.
Yeah, and so Baptiste says tobacco lobby is strong. Lamont says, is pipe smoking better? No, in no way, shape, or form is pipe smoking better. It's the same tobacco most of the time.
It's tastier.
Not unless it's the same. If it's the same, a lot of the pipe tobaccos out there are just used in cigarette machines. Let me see. So Genevieve says related to spinach, yes. Black Orthodoxy says it just be fatter. Baptiste says chewing gum and appetite suppressor, if I'm not mistaken. Yes, it is. 70 Massachusetts 70 says smoking is an addiction. It could very well be difficult to stop during Lent. If so, might as well quit. That's true.
Yeah,
I mean, these people aren't smoking because they're just having the most fun on the planet. They're smoking because they don't. I think it was best said by, I forget which public speaker it was, but he put it in a very interesting way. And he said it's not that smokers like they like smoking. It's not that smokers like the feeling that they have when they're smoking. It's that they don't like the feeling that they have when they're not. It's a negative reinforcement addiction. It's not a good one. I'm not accusing you, Reconquist. I'm not accusing anyone, but I'm just saying that if you were trying to use the tobacco as a tool to maintain the fast, that takes away from the ascesis. It's like, oh, I can't eat all day. Let me just take a Dexatrim. That's the wrong attitude to have. It's something you're sacrificing.
Well, it's subjecting your will.
Yeah. Reckon Keys' father, nicotine is a neuroprotector for the brain. Yeah, I'm aware of that. Trust me, I'm aware of all the good things about nicotine and all the bad things about it. All right. Well, we're at the 25th minute of the third hour. So in this case, let me see here.
Put a bow on the smoking.
Star Nicholas smoked. Yes, he did, as did a lot of other very important people.
Well, to put a bow on it, though, I think this is a matter best brought up with your spiritual father versus like hashing it out on a live stream.
John O.C. using that math says the last Kyrios Pascha fell on 25th of March, 1991. The next one is listed to occur in 2075, according to Orthodox Wiki. That's just 50 years, which means, God willing, many of you may be alive if judgment hasn't come. May be alive, here to celebrate the next Kyrios Pascha.
Wait a second, 50 plus. Wow, I'm gonna be really old if I'm still alive.
Well, it's easy for me because of my birth year, so I'll be 100. So
I'll be 5 years behind.
I won't be. Pretty sure I won't be making it to the next Kyrios Pascha. Sunrise says Jewish doctors and cigarette conversation on every stream. LOL. Yeah, unfortunately, people keep bringing them up. Black Earth of Acolyte says, love using my tobacco pipe. Rarely use it in these days, though. Understood. Baptiste says there's no Kyrios Pascha on the new calendar.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to cast aspersions. I mean, I was a former smoker. I used to do cigar and pipe tobacco. So
Yeah, I'm not going to get into the. I'm not getting into the taking a side on this.
yeah, I'm not trying to cast aspersions, but I mean, go with your spiritual father's advice.
Yeah. That's the one you should stick with.
Yeah.
Okay. Father Boniface says a Jewish church serving instructor is okay just as long as he's not New Wave. Okay. One moment. I'm gonna have you guys talk amongst yourselves because.
Yes, Father.
I guess we won't figure out why, but yes. Let's see. With the smoking thing, I used to smoke. I was actually explaining this to someone earlier. I smoked pipe tobacco for years.
Yeah, me
I
too.
enjoyed it, and no, it's not a good thing. In fact, when I became a reader, I was told I could not smoke at all, which is good. I quit smoking years ago. But I was explaining this to someone today that every now and then there'll be this urge to smoke. I haven't touched tobacco in 5 years,
Mhm.
and I'm just getting urges to smoke all of a sudden. And I don't know where they're coming from.
It's because
And
Lent's approaching.
well, yes, that kind of revealed to me that it must be a spiritual issue.
Yeah.
Because
exactly.
with me, okay, I was never really addicted to nicotine. I was never really addicted to tobacco. It made
Mhm.
it makes sense that I was smoking because I enjoyed it. It does something biochemically that is like alcohol or meat does to the body. It excites the
It's soothing.
passions.
Yeah.
Yes, it excites the passions, and yeah, like Hukulani says, can smoking be good? It damages lungs. Christ says our body is a temple. Yes. I was talking to someone about this when it came to tattoos. And he kept bringing up that he wanted to get a tattoo. And I said, you're an Orthodox Christian. Would you graffiti on the side of a church? Would you go take a spray can and put your tag or whatever there? He said, no. I said, well, why would you do that to your body with a tattoo? It's the same
Well,
difference. There's a saying in Russia that the church is not within wood logs; it's within the logs of the ribs. It's our heart that is the church.
mhm. What I was always taught that tattoos are kind of like a portal for demonic influence.
Oh yeah,
Well.
lots of ancient cultures, like the Anu people of Japan, lots of like Polynesian people, like the Aborigines and whatnot. They use tattoos and they did it for ritual purposes. Lots of
Mhm.
people in Southeast Asia, the tattoos were always associated. That was the reason why God prohibited it for the Jews, because the pagans would get tattoos. The Egyptians would get these tattoos, the Syrians would get these tattoos, and our God did not want the Israelites to be like the other peoples, so he prohibited.
Yeah, it's funny you mentioned that. Under Jewish law, you cannot be buried in a Jewish cemetery if you have tattoos. The
Yes.
only exception is if you were forced to have one during the Holocaust. That's the only exception they make.
Well, I mean, in military they have tattoos and whatnot, but
Sure.
I do tattoo removal. That's one of my side gigs of sorts.
Oh, really?
So I try to get people to
Yeah.
remove tattoos.
So you remind me Saint Theodorus the Graptos. This
Who?
saint was Saint Theodorus the Graptos, the written. He
Oh,
was
okay. I
actually, this
didn't
is
know
one of
that.
the reasons. Yeah, this is one of the reasons that the church doesn't like tattoos. He was during the iconoclasts, and the iconoclast emperors, put some hot steel parts on his face, and they written words against the icons, the holy icons.
Yes, they did that.
And
A lot of heretics
yeah,
did that.
so that looked like a tattoo on his body, and the church, didn't like it at all after that. And this was one of the reasons that all this strong, how can I say it in English properly? Hate against tattoos grew up after the 8th century.
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, again, I have no position on smoking either way. Sorry, I missed it. I had to run to the bathroom. Sorry.
Yeah, we jumped at the fasting for the tattoos.
Tattoos again. I guess it's again one of these things they kind of relate. The question of whether one should be getting tattoos, or if they have tattoos, what they should do. The answer to what they should do if they have tattoos and are baptized afterwards, probably nothing.
I have tattoo removal tools. If anyone wants tattoos removed,
Yeah.
from Louisiana.
What do you mean tattoo removal tool? I'm just kidding.
I mean,
don't they have to laser them?
Well, I use a different method, but I do tattoo removal if anyone's interested.
Okay.
How's that working?
I guess if anyone wants that, contact Reader Saba. Let me see here. Yeah. So makeup is the same as a tattoo. Not really. You can take makeup off.
Oh, unless you're Tammy Faye Baker.
Ortho Pirate says, I have tattoos are good teaching lessons for my children as to what not to do with your body. Hey, that's not an invalid argument. All right, so let me take a look here. Yeah, so once again, I don't know if I added that one. I think if I didn't, I should. Hold on.
I can imagine somebody making a tattoo of the Holy Cross in his back and trying to go for vacations in Syria and the beach.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of giant religious tattoos.
Don't the cops do tattoos?
The Syrians, they did that. Syriacs and Assyrians would get tattoos of crosses. I read the source was Kublai Khan. He had this like the Nestorian bishops who got tattoos of crosses on their foreheads.
Forehead, yeah.
Yeah, that was a thing the Nestorians used to do.
Yeah,
but
really?
I guess the Monophysites adopted
I didn't know that.
I've seen
I don't know if the
Monophysites
Monophysites do it. I only knew the Nestorians used
I've
to
seen
do it.
I've seen Coptics do it. Yeah.
Sunrise asks, I have a cross necklace that was blessed by my World Orthodox priest. What should I do with it? I've just left it in a closet. You could always just ask your current priest to bless it. I mean, it's not a big deal if you really like it. I guess that's the easiest solution.
Well, it's also a cross. It doesn't necessarily need to be.
Well, yeah, but if he feels like the cross has been contaminated, it's not, either way. Yeah. Black Earth Acolytes say Ethiopians tattoo themselves. Yeah, a lot. Basically, I think almost all the different Monophysite groups allow tattoos. So
that's right. Yeah, I forgot about that.
I didn't know that. That's news to me.
Well, I'm thinking the Jacobites allow it, the Ethiopians allow it.
Cops allow it.
Yeah, just like the Orthodox allow it.
Some of the Syriacs allow it. So, yeah.
Well, and as Waltus points out, it's just like the Orthodox allow it. Well, some Orthodox make a huge deal about it. Obviously.
World.
Have you been following?
One question.
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, this is my last question, but I was looking at the archive of the Metropolia's website, and it mentioned Archbishop Vissarion in Munich. What happened to him? Did he repose, or?
No, he's still alive. He's just really old.
Is still with the Metropolia?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Let me see here.
You're saying, have you been following, Father?
Have you been following the news with Pope? Yeah, he's getting old. His face is swelling up. I assume the rest of him is swelling up. He had pneumonia, and he's he's old.
It's in critical condition.
Yeah. My coworker has a cross on his forehead, but I don't know if he's Christian. It kind of freaked me out. I thought it was a gang thing. It could be, unfortunately.
Never know.
Yeah, you never know.
There's a group out there called the Gangster Disciples, and they're like street gang Christian weirdos. That might be that. Those people are pretty dangerous. So if he's
I don't think they're Christians.
Sava, how do you know about gangsters?
They're
Well,
pretty
you
well
know,
known. The gangster disciples are actually pretty well known.
No,
let's just say, I've done tattoo removal for a few years, and I've had to remove some interesting tattoos over the years.
Wow.
What's the technique of removing tattoos you're using?
Well, I knew it was going to be brought up, and I know some of the people in Louisiana are already shaking their head. I use a blowtorch and jet fuel.
Oh, that'll do it.
Ouch.
I think I know your method now.
It works. It works.
And it's actually a lesson for not doing it again.
So are
Well,
you
it doesn't cause that much damage.
Are you causing trauma to help it heal?
Well, no, you just kind of burn it off.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
All right. With that, okay.
If somebody comes with a tattoo that says Orthodoxy θάνατος εσπιγμένου monastery, what are you gonna do? Are you gonna, if he wants you to delete it, what are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
Reconquista says, Father, tattoos is evil. They give people cancer, as is the time where the ink leaches into the bloodstream. The question of the lethality of tattoos I've never heard of before, but I mean,
Okay, go into your liver. Yeah, that's true.
They've been around for a great many centuries. Maybe the modern inks are worse. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, tattoos are cancer, cigarettes are not. I don't know. Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna just I think we're gonna call it a night. We're in the 38th minute of the third hour. So I think that's the best thing to do. I want to just allow me to real quick. Just going to say thank you to everyone, to our guests, to our listeners. To those who asked questions and had comments, and those who support our mission, support the channel. We at NFTU need your help. Support us by subscribing or donating at nftu.net, on GiveSendGo, or on Odyssey. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Before we go, Baptiste Road, what is the most honest book about post-schism Western Europe history? I have no idea. In that case, and Ryan has come. I don't know who Ryan is, actually. He's just there. Y'all show up exactly as when I'm leaving. Ryan, what can I do for you today?
I'm sorry. If you guys are ending, then
No. Please go ahead.
I was just wondering. What are your thoughts on the practice of mortification of the flesh? Is that something lay people should do?
It's not something that's common even among clergy. And it's usually not to the extreme that one finds it in Roman Catholicism, etc. You might find the wearing of chains among some monastics, but nothing much harder than that. They may be very heavy chains, but they're not. The point is, self-injury is not part of the mortification process in Orthodoxy in general.
I think the most I've ever seen is heavy chains, hair shirts, cinctures, but not to the point of like you see in some of the supposed Catholic saints, where they like rot their flesh and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any other questions, Ryan?
No, that's pretty much it. Yeah, I was wondering if there was any parallel to the Roman Catholic practice, but you explained it, so yeah.
You mean wearing those chains on them and doing fasting and stuff like that?
Yeah, or just I know there are stylites, right?
A few monks and priest monks back at the older years, they used to, but this was only after their spiritual father's blessings. Actually, I'm not sure if it was 100% that. It wasn't the greatest thing to follow anyway. They're not doing it today anymore. They stopped doing it.
Saint Nicodemus the Hagarite in the Pedalion mentions this when it comes to fasting, because there was a debate, and this, of course, where the Kulavade fathers come from, about whether or not you should fast on Saturday. And he wrote a commentary on several canons related to this, and he said that we should refrain from what he calls vain self-mortification, which is, you know, he makes a difference between true asceticism and what he calls vain self-mortification. So it has to be done in the correct spirit, in the correct way. Otherwise, it's, as he puts it, vain.
You know what's good for mortifying the flesh? Putting on a wool sweater.
Yeah. Saint John of Aphialis was doing that. He used to do that back at 1930s, 1950s.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but again, it was under his spiritual father instruction, right?
Yeah,
and it's different time back then. We're not doing it anymore, as far as I know.
Yeah, I think most of the practices that I've seen is it's not mortification for mortification's sake. It's usually, like you said, under the direction of a spiritual father, and it's for a particular passion that you're struggling with. Like, I think I remember somebody, I don't remember exactly who it was, but he had trouble with his mouth, and the spiritual father or the abbot told him to put a little wooden cross in his mouth. So if he was going to speak ill against his brother, the wooden cross would rub against the roof of his mouth and cut it. You see what I'm saying? So he kind of learned real quick that you shouldn't speak against your brother.
Well, I think Atomic Lead makes a good point about this. He says, I asked this question at least 5 years ago. Vladika Enoch said that what RC Saints were doing was not what e.g. like St. Aronarch of Roscoff was doing. And that's a very good point. The penances in Roman Catholicism used by many of these, for lack of a better term, self-mutilating or self-injuring saints, it was somewhat different.
Well, it was apart from guidance too, most of those.
Yeah. All right. So Ryan, if you had any other questions, no problem.
No. Thank you for answering my questions.
No problem. Glad we could.
Yeah.
Thank you to everyone, to Ryan, to our other guests, to our listeners who came. Okay. Thank you for keeping the lights on, Reconquista Orthodox. This is the last question. I don't care what people do. The left eating bugs. Does the church recommend people stay away from that bug food? Obviously, we don't recommend, eating insects unless it's absolutely necessary. What?
They're good for you. We have a person at our Vodica Andres parish in New Jersey. He makes fried crickets.
Wonderful.
Insects are good for you.
I'm still not going to eat them. Anyway.
Personal choice.
No locust and honey.
No, I'm not going to do that. No, thank you. Thank you for that, Reconquista, and thank you everyone for listening. Support us by subscribing or donating to NFTU.net on GiveSendGo or on Odyssey. Have a great night, everyone. We remember all of you in our prayers, and thank you for all the support for NFTU. And as always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Through the prayers of Holy Fathers of Jesus Christ, our God of mercy, us and save us, and have a good night.
Amen.